friends, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Indiana news, politics, and government you're not going to find anywhere else. Coming up here in just a little bit, Greg Ballard is going to join us. And everybody on the Republican side is freaking out over Greg Ballard proposing a voter guide. That's a real sentence. Yesterday on social media, I saw one Republican, either politician or operative or hanger-on after another, outraged over the fact that Greg Ballard proposed a voter guide that would go to the home of every registered voter. Now, Ballard's going to be with us here in a little bit. He's got a sample of the voter guide. We'll show it to everyone. And the voter guide, it's a booklet. Wherever you live, this is his proposal, Secretary of State, to try to enhance voter participation, educate the public. He says, look, wherever you live, you're registered to vote. You're going to get a voter guide that's going to basically essentially give you a sample ballot. And it's going to allow every politician that's going to be on your ballot to have a little section where you can learn about the office, what they do, a little bio on the candidate. And comes with a price tag of $2.5 million. Now, is it something I would do? No. Do I think it's the best use of taxpayer money? No. That being said, look, I think if you want to vote, you vote. I think if you want to learn how to vote, you vote. You want to learn who the candidates are, you do it. That being said, the Republican Party, who has done absolutely nothing, said absolutely nothing, for the last 4 years, as Diego Morales has been involved in one scandal after another, or as the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, referred to them, scandals, plural. Don't have to take my word for it. They did nothing. The no-bid contracts, the $90,000 car, the hiring of the brother-in-law to the six-figure salary, using the office as a 24/7 campaign machine. How much stuff did he buy? Everything he buys has his name on it that he was giving away to taxpayers. The thing about the $300,000 in unused vehicle history reports. The big one, of course, is this mysterious trip to India that to this day, 10-day trip to India that no one knows who paid for it and he won't say. Filming of the campaign commercial using taxpayer resources. Not a word from the Republicans on any of that until they realized he was going to lose and they had to get him off the ballot, and then they put Engling up to run. But in terms of actual investigations, actual punishment, actual transparency, not a word. Not a word until they realized he was going to lose, and still even then, you're not getting any justice as a taxpayer. They just got him off the ballot. And yet, a voter guide proposed by Greg Ballard is a step too far for the Republicans. Think about just over the weekend, $625,000 of your money spent, it's done, to settle the Andy Zay lawsuit. Andy Zay, a guy who just days before, the governor's office had alleged of egregious potential campaign finance violations, which was so bad he was fired from the IURC for cause. What happened to him? He got $625,000 of our money. Not a word. Still, we are almost a week into this, and not a word from any Republicans in the Statehouse, the General Assembly, or the statewide office holders. $625,000 flushed down the toilet. We get nothing out of it. Zay and his attorneys, they're doing great. Not a word. But the voter guide, whether you think it's a great use of taxpayer money or not, it actually would serve a purpose for the public. Again, not my thing. I wouldn't do it. You know how I am about the government and spending. But that's not the point. It's a legitimate public policy proposal. It's a real thing that the premise of it is to serve the public. to educate the public. A lot of older people probably would really appreciate it. If you're under a certain age, probably not that big a deal to you. But there's like a legitimate purpose to it. And that enraged the Republicans. Yet one egregious act of government, not just in the Secretary of State's office, but across statewide, government statewide, nothing. We spent $250,000 on a suite for the politicians and the bureaucrats to hobnob with the rich and powerful at the race in Washington, D.C. Not a word from these same Republicans who are outraged over Greg Ballard's proposed voter guide. It's not about us. It's not about better government. It's not about better public policy. It's about hanging on to power. Look, if the Republicans had been outraged out of scandals are us from the Morales administration for the past 4 years, if they'd have held him accountable, if they'd have pinned him down and who paid for India, if they'd have pulled his money, like all that stuff, right? If they'd have demanded the Inspector General launch an investigation, Ryan Mears launch an investigation, all of these things. Okay. Then you got grounds to be critical of Greg Ballard's voter guide. And it's fine to be critical of Greg Ballard's voter guide. It's fine to have a debate over whether it's good use of public money or not. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's complete hypocrisy to see people who did nothing, including people like Jim Banks, who were supportive of Diego, endorsed Diego, did nothing to stop Diego, then acting like they're outraged over Ballard proposing $2.5 million go to a voter guide to be sent to every resident. At least you're getting something for the money. I mean, I guess theoretically, if you'd have gone to the state fair, you could have got a Diego koozie. It is, and it's team sport. It's amazing how they all line up with it. And that is one of the things. I was watching these posts yesterday, and they're like it's like there's like marching orders that go out, and the group think, and nobody ever stands up. Nobody ever holds these people accountable. Nobody inside the Republican Party, the power structure, speaks out. So Ballard's going to join us here in a little bit to talk about this voter guide, what the purpose of it is, why he thinks it serves the public good. We're also going to talk about whether or not these votes in the Spencer Deery race should be counted. Obviously, Diego Morales, the Secretary of State, which Greg Ballard is attempting to become, he cast the tie-breaking vote to throw all of those what appear to be legally cast ballots out that were simply screwed up by the government during processing. We'll ask Ballard if he would count those votes. We're going to talk with Ballard about the controversy about men playing women's sports. No, we got into this, I believe maybe it was Monday we got into this. Ballard made a big mistake. He went on a show where the host is a Republican cheerleader. You went on a show where you know the host is not out to hold everybody accountable equally. He's there because he's friends with the Republicans, which is fine. And everybody can do whatever radio they want to do. That's up to them and their employer. Doesn't seem like a great business model to me in 2026, but what the hell do I know? But Ballard went on that show, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're going to go on that show, you know you're going to get that question because that host is for the other guy. It's not like this program where we hate all the people equally. That host has a desired outcome. And if you're going to do that, which is okay, you know you're going to get that question. And of course, this goes back to, in 2022, there was a law that the General Assembly put forward to ban men and women's sports. The governor vetoed the bill at the time, saying, it was Holcomb, and he said, the IHSAA is policing this. There is not a single case of this occurring. The government doesn't need to be involved in it. I'm vetoing this bill. Now, if I were governor, I would have signed the bill. And I think the public at large agreed with the legislation. And the General Assembly ultimately overrode the governor's veto. Ballard came out and said, I support the governor's veto because I don't think the government needs to be involved in it until there's a proven problem in this state, which there is not. The IHSAA is not allowing men to play women's sports. They're preventing it themselves. We don't need a law. Well, even if that is rooted in the idea of more limited government, we'll give Ballard the benefit of the doubt on that. The public has clearly moved in the direction of doing everything possible to prevent men and women's sports. And if the government needs to pass a law to make people feel better about it, even if the problem doesn't exist here, one of the things I learned as an elected official, there's hills to die on politically. And then there's ones where you're like, maybe that isn't exactly what I'd want. But the old saying, if you're explaining, you're losing. The two things in politics: if you confuse them, you lose them, and if you explain it, if you're explaining, you're losing. And it put Ballard on the defense. I don't think any reasonable person thinks Greg Ballard, decorated military veteran, man's man, mayor of Indianapolis, that he's out there wanting men and women's sports. But because of his previous position, saying that there didn't need to be a law for something that wasn't an issue, you got to start explaining. You got to tell people why you had the position you did. He went on the show. He got asked the question. He should have known he was going to get the question. I don't know if he knew it or not. He didn't. You cannot give a great answer and not be in the wrong. That happens all the time in politics. You cannot give a great answer not being the wrong. He espoused, again, that he's against men being in women's sports. He doesn't have a problem with the law today because it's become a much bigger issue, but it wasn't a great look. So we're going to ask Ballard about it. We're going to ask about the interview itself. Like, does he regret going on that show? Does he regret doing that? Where is it? What is his actual, opinion on this? Which I think he's made pretty clear, but my deal. Politics is blood sport. If you think your opponent's vulnerable anywhere, you go for it. Now, what's interesting about all of this is whether, let's just say Ballard, he's not, but let's just say Ballard, hypothetically, were the most pro men and women's sports person out there. Doesn't matter. Secretary of State's office has absolutely nothing to do with whether men are allowed to play women's sports. And I think it is an insight into the England campaign that they don't have much to run on. Tom LoBianco, freelance journalist, we had him on the show on Monday, has this piece out in the Washington Examiner on Buy. And he said, look, I changed my mind on where I was with this race from when it started. When I started the piece in the month plus it took me to write it from where it ended. And one of the things he said, and he's right, if you actually think through it, switching candidates doesn't usually work out well. You think back, even going to the Buys themselves, in which Evan Buy was a switched candidate in 2016 when he came back to run for U.S. Senate. And remember, there was all this hoopla about, the Buys are back, baby. Tough break for Todd Young. He's going down. Wasn't even close. Evan Buy ended up getting smoked. And LoBianco made the point. He said, switched candidates, which is what happened, whether England ran at the convention or not, there was clearly a switch. At the end, it got all sorts of media attention. Rarely works out well. There is allegedly some polling that may come out soon that isn't great for England. That's the word on the street. And so I think when you're seeing the Republican Party, first of all, the fact that they're so interested in Ballard to me is very interesting. And again, we're totally transparent here. I am an undecided voter. I got asked this yesterday, in fact, and it hasn't changed. It's down to 2. It was 3, and then the Libertarians decided to publicly become Amnesty R Us. And if you're going to be an open border society as a party, you can scratch me off that list. See ya. But the point is, the Republicans appear more focused on Ballard than they are Bo Bai, which is fascinating to me. I mean, it's down to two for me. It's down to Ballard and it's down to Bai. I have no idea. I got asked yesterday. I said, I have no idea. I said, when I know, I'll tell you. But I may make the decision the day I go vote. I don't know. But the Republicans are clearly more worried for whatever reason right now about Ballard than they are Bai, which is very interesting. So Ballard will be with us coming up here at 10 o'clock to talk about the voter guide and the men and women's sports, which has absolutely nothing to do with The Office. And I think the most important question I'm going to ask him is about the Spencer Deery race. The fact that Diego Morales, the Secretary of State, which Ballard would be if he wins, is the tie-breaking vote. Do you have an absolute guaranteed right to vote in Indiana anymore? That's what hinges on this case. Diego Morales and the attorney, the other member of the commission, essentially said, no, you don't. If the government screws up your ballot, you don't have a right to vote anymore. All right, the other thing I wanted to get to today is why do these politicians never thank the taxpayers? Have you ever noticed that? It's always about thanking other politicians as though the other politicians are spending their own money. Have you ever noticed this? Well, we're going to talk about this because I saw this over and over and over and over again over the past day about this emergency declaration that Trump is declaring. And I want to get into this here in a second. But first, AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. They take incredible pride in cleaning homes and businesses. It got started about 6 years ago. Amber, she's the owner of AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. She was working for one of the big guys, and she was not happy because she didn't think the employees took enough time and care and attention to detail. So she started her own business. It's AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. They service all across central Indiana. And you're going to see and smell the difference when you use AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. Call today for your house or business clean. Mention the Rob Kendall Show. You're going to get incredible $50 off your first clean just by mentioning the Rob Kendall Show. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Also, welcome if you're joining us. Welcome our friends up at WJOB up in the region, joining us for Hour 1 as well. You can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. All you got to do, like, share, and subscribe. First of all, give us that thumbs up. If you're watching us live on YouTube, on demand on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Really helps us out. You can do it right now. Takes 2 seconds. Helps us grow this program. I assume if you're watching, it's you want us to grow. If you're listening on the on-demand, thousands of people each day, the Apple, the iHeart, the Spotify's, give us that 5-star review. Really helps us out. Share the feed out. If you got a Facebook, you got a Twitter, you got a social media, you got an email chain, whatever it is, however you get the word out to people, share this Rob Kendall Show out. Let people know there's a program dedicated to Indiana news, politics, and government. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to us on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. We also have a website. It's robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. There we've got our live link. We've got all the on-demand platforms where you can check us out. You can get the links to where if you want to see us on Apple or Spotify or iHeart or all those places. We've got articles each day based on our favorite segments we do here on the show. So if you're the reading type, you can read there. And last but certainly not least, we have the support button. If you like what we do, if you want to contribute, support button, robkendallshow.com. Robert yesterday, super generous. Thank you to Robert. Hit the support button at robkendallshow.com. Don't forget, for the entire month of August, you still got a few days left here, whatever amount you give in hitting the support button at robkendallshow.com, our pal John McKinney at Black Sheep Plumbing, he's going to double that up to $100 in a plumbing credit. So it's $50 you give. I send you an email, say thanks for supporting the Rob Kendall Show. If you need plumbing services from Black Sheep Plumbing in August, whether it's a new water heater, water softener, toilet, sink, whatever it might be, just show John that email. He's going to see the amount you gave. He's going to double it in a credit up to $100. So if it's $50 you gave, you get a $100 credit. You get how that works. You guys can math. RobKendallShow.com. All right. So President Trump yesterday, the Indy Star had a big article on this, many other publications covering it as well. President Trump has approved a major disaster declaration for parts of Indiana, opening up federal aid from the Federal Emergency Management Agency as communities attempt to recover from the damage caused by storms and flooding. All right. So when we say opening up aid from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, unless there's a money ferry, that's our money. Taxpayer money. Even if it's printed money, which most of it is these days, it's future taxpayer money. It's money paid for by us at current status through inflation, through our tax dollars, and future generations from their inflation and their tax dollars. Money has meaning. And I'm not in any way disputing that it's not a good use of money. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. If there's things the government's supposed to do, they're very limited. This would be one of them. It's not a dispute of whether it's a good use of public money. It's not Donald Trump's money. It's not Todd Young's money. It's not Jim Banks' money. It's not Mike Braun's money. It's not Donald Trump's money. It's our money. And there's going to be 21 counties through this emergency declaration. Individuals and households in 21 counties are going to be eligible, according to the Star, to receive federal dollars, including Marion and Hamilton counties. 11 counties will be able to receive public assistance, which can be used for emergency work and the repair or replacement of disaster-damaged facilities. Now, I'm going to tell you these counties here in a second. Having been through multiple hurricanes and emergency declarations, the bureaucracy of this, and Jason will back me up on this, is a nightmare. Trying to get the federal money is a nightmare. I hope these people get the help they need. Maybe it's gotten better. I'm not overly optimistic. Like here is an example of what I'm talking about. That we had when we owned our radio station in North Carolina, there were 2 hurricanes that hit the area there in the 10 or 11 years we owned the station. And one of the hurricanes, we had a guy who was a local newspaper writer, but he was sort of like a survivalist. Like he, was able to do a lot of stuff on his own. And so the hurricane hits, and he's like, I'll put my house back together on my own. It'll be fine. He goes to the FEMA people, and he's like, hey, and, they're just lines for days, right, of people trying to get to FEMA. And he goes to the FEMA people, and they're like, well, what do you need? He's like, I don't need much. I just need a can of paint. And they're like, well, we need to, inspect your house first. And he's like, well, I don't need you to inspect my house. I've got my house ready to go. I could really just use a can of paint. The hardware stores, everybody, they're totally out of supplies, right? And he gets in this prolonged conversation with FEMA about a can of paint, which they refuse to give to him until they inspect his house. And in the meantime, they're going to pay for him to stay at a hotel. You remember this? And in order to get the can of paint, he had to have his house inspected by FEMA, and he had to go stay at a hotel. And he's like, I'm already living in the house. I just need paint. I've made the choice. I like the house. I know when my house is habitable or not. And they refused to give him the can of paint because he wouldn't let him inspect the house and force him to stay at a hotel. He was going to have to leave his house and stay at a hotel until they could inspect his house to get a can of paint. That's how FEMA works. Remember how bizarre it was trying to get the hotel? Now, the back of our radio station, we turned it into a house. It got damaged, so we couldn't stay there. We had to go down there and, try to fix everything and all that. And it was like you couldn't get a straight answer on whether you were approved for a hotel. Then you got approved for a hotel, but then there were clawback provisions if you didn't meet the standards. But then you didn't know when they were going to actually come look at your property. It was a nightmare. I hope it's gotten better. Maybe it's gotten better the past few years under Trump. But if you guys remember under Biden and the North Carolinas, in the western part of the state, remember those floods in the western part of the state? It doesn't sound like it's gotten any better. We didn't do it. We didn't do it.
3 nights of being you in a hotel.
Yeah, we didn't do it. Because it was like, so you could not get a straight answer on how the process like even worked. You talked to a different, so hopefully it's gotten better. I just don't want people to think this is some sort of magic bullet because FEMA's coming in. Now the government is infinitely bigger now than it was 10, 11 years ago, so maybe it has. Here's the counties. Individuals can receive federal aid in the following counties: Carroll, Dearborn, Decatur, Delaware, Fayette, Franklin, Hamilton, Hancock, Henry, Lake, LaPorte, Madison, Marion, Morgan, Porter, Pulaski, Randolph, Rush, Tipton, Union, and Wayne counties. Public assistance for local governments is available to the following counties: Delaware, Fayette, Franklin, Hamilton, Henry, Lake, LaPorte, Madison, Porter, Tipton, and Wayne counties. Now, that's obviously like Hamilton County had that bridge that got completely destroyed. They're going to get probably federal aid to be able to do that. The stated goal of the declaration is, quote, to help people and communities recover from severe storms, straight-line winds, tornadoes, and flooding that occurred August 11th, 2026, and counting. Now, the Braun administration estimated that the damage to homes and apartments is in a range of $550 million to $5 billion. Seems like a pretty wide range. Thus far, they have calculated the destruction of 44 structures, major damage to 959 structures, and adverse effects or minor damage to more than 700 others. Braun said, quote, this critical support will help Hoosiers recovering from historic storms and flooding. We're grateful for this partnership as we work to rebuild, recover, and help communities get back on their feet. Okay, first question I have is, I thought Braun said if we redistricted, the federal government was like going to cut us off. Wasn't that a thing, or did I imagine that? That Braun and then Micah came out and said, now Micah deleted the tweet because he's delete tweet guy. But they both came out and said, if we don't redistrict, there's going to be adverse effects from federal money. Sounds like, in this case, we're getting the federal money. Now, my other question would be, what took so long? It's been 2 weeks. It's August the 26th. The original storm was August 11th. What took so long to get the declaration from the president? That seems like a very long time. And it has been, like a week or more since we've had any sort of major additional rains or weather damage. So what took so long? The first question I have is, I thought we were not going to be getting federal money if we didn't redistrict. Clearly, we're getting, slow as it may be, the federal money to roll in. If this wasn't the federal money that those guys were talking about, then what federal money were you talking about? Does it end with Orador? Does it start with mid? What projects or federal money were we going to be denied if we didn't redistrict, if we're still getting money on things like this? The other issue I have is all of these politicians who are thanking all the other politicians for doing this. First of all, that's their job. That's their job. Their literal job is this, whether it's Young, whether it's Banks, whether it's Trump. The second part of it is no one's thanking the taxpayers. Donald Trump, last I checked, wasn't spending $5 billion of his own money. And you see this, not just in this case, but all the time, in which politicians do something that involves spending money, and all the other politicians thank the other politician that spent the money instead of the taxpayers who paid the money. When do the taxpayers get thanked? We keep suffering. We keep having to pay more for everything because of all the money everybody's spending. When do we get thanked? Why is it that the politicians always just thank the other politicians? Trump's slow ass finally agreed to spend up to $5 billion here. Great. You're welcome. Not an indictment of the expenditure whatsoever. This is the sort of thing government should be involved in. Of the 10 million things they're involved in, they shouldn't be. This is one of them. My question is, Why do the taxpayers never, ever seem to get thanked? Why is Trump the one getting thanked? He's doing his job, and he's spending someone else's money. I don't know. Hey, Anthony Gary, he owns Indie Dwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's trained with some of the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert selling strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. Anthony Gary, Indie Dwell Real Estate. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, some of the best audio from across the fruited plain, including some audio from this El Said monster running for Senate in Michigan that you won't believe. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you'd get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young. Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Coming up here in a little bit, of course, Dolly Parton passed away yesterday. That feels like a really big deal. It feels like it feels like something bigger than a celebrity passing. And I kind of always try to go by like the response from people. And in the case of Dolly Parton, so much of the response was things that had nothing to do with her music or her acting. It was her philanthropy. It was her faith. It was her incredible generosity. That felt like kind of a big thing. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But first, let's get some for some of the best audio from across the fruited plain. For those of you who are new to the program, welcome. You know, our bread is buttered with Indiana news, politics, and government. But, you know, we got 3 hours. So a couple segments each show. We try to get you in tune to some of the big news, things that are going on around the rest of the country, around the world, things you need to know. And we try to do that, condense it down into one of those segments is some of the best audio, things that I hear that I think, that's important. I think you guys need to know that. Before we get to the audio, though, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bremen Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. Beauty built to endure. All right. First piece of audio. This is Congresswoman Sarah McBride. She is a Democrat from Delaware. And the Democrats should win like 50 seats in the House this fall. As bad as the Republicans have done, as the Republicans failing to deliver on their promises, the Democrats should absolutely clean house. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Look, I think the Democrats are going to get the House. I think the Senate's probably a tougher climb. They should get the Senate, too. But I think that's a tougher climb. And a major reason for that is because the Democrats can't get out of their own way. We call it snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And a big part of this is the Democrats publicly take extreme positions that are in direct contrast with where the public is. Just be normal. That's it. JBN, that should be the slogan, the acronym. JBN, just be normal. If you guys could just act like normal human beings, not even conservative positions, just like moderate positions. And the Democrats refuse to do that because they are more and more a party taken over by psychopaths. And this Sarah McBride woman, she's a Democrat congressman from Delaware. She is expressing her full support for amnesty and allowing people who have broken the law to stay in this country. And one of the areas that Trump has always done very well, and in one of the areas he continues to do better than others, is the border. We're a generous country. We're a welcoming country. But the public at large still believes somewhat, to some extent, in the rule of law. And the rule of law says you got to do things a certain way to come into the country. One, for our safety and security. But two, if you didn't, everybody would just show up. Everyone would just come and do whatever they wanted. The Democrats, though, they're not having any of that. Here is Democrat Sarah McBride, Democrat from Delaware, all in on the amnesty.
When we talk about the cruelty of the party in power today in Washington, the sharpest and clearest example of that cruelty is in the inhumane, unconscionable, and frankly un-American approach to immigration policy that the administration has pursued. Every single day, I'm sure Senator Coons would echo this sentiment, and I'm sure, frankly, you would, Councilman Bogarty. Almost every day I hear from Delawareans. And that's who they are. They are Delawareans.
Wow.
People who are working hard, raising kids, paying taxes. Law-abiding Delawareans who don't have documentation.
So they're illegal immigrants. They're not law-abiding. They broke the law, illegally entering the country. There was just a big raid on ICE by ICE the other day. Something like 400 violent, dangerous offenders were apprehended. Look, whether somebody's a dangerous perpetrator or not, it doesn't matter. You broke the law. You illegally entered the country. You don't get to stay if you break the law because no one would ever follow the law. There'd be no point in having any laws. And they always try to paint all of these people as like the best among us. There may indeed be some numerous fine hard workers. I have worked construction at various times in my existence. I think there were some people that their paperwork might have been a little suspect. They were very nice people. And, find a workaround. But you have to have laws. And if you break the law, you're telling everyone else and you let those people stay, it's fine to break the law. That's not inhumane. It's not inhumane to say you have to have laws. It's not inhumane to say we have to have rules and you have to follow them. You have people that wait 5, 6, 7 years in order to get in this country or become citizens of this country. That's why the swearing-in ceremonies are such a big deal. It's an accomplishment. You're diluting, you're demeaning, you're belittling that accomplishment when you let the people stay who didn't follow the rules, and you demean the government. That's like, you got to get out of here. You got to come back and do things the right way. Speaking of Delaware, and you heard McBride mention his name, Chris Coons is a Democrat senator. And again, we come back to the Democrats snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Like ICE is a hard job. It's not a fun job. It's a dangerous job. Thank God people want to do it. Every encounter could be a hyper dangerous one. You have no idea who you're encountering. Most of the people, or a lot of people, aren't even from this country. And God bless those people that are willing to do it. But listen to this description. The disdain Coons, Democrat senator from Delaware, has for the people who work for ICE, how they do their job. And he's very proud, as you'll hear here. Allow myself to introduce myself. You'll hear about the Democrats shutting the government down a few months ago over trying to defund ICE. Take a listen.
I do not support using ICE as an ill-trained, masked, concealed, thuggish local force that goes into churches and synagogues and mosques, into court buildings, into schools and hospitals. These should be safe places. And we had such a fundamental fight over this that my caucus, the Democrats in the Senate, shut the government down for several months last year because we were unwilling to vote to fund ICE.
If there's places you can go and hide if you're breaking the law, that seems counterintuitive to a safe and productive society. Well, he broke the law. Is he a criminal? Yep. Well, let's get him out of here. Nope, he's in a church. But he doesn't have any right to be in that church. He's not a citizen. Well, but he's in a church. The Democrats come off, and many of them are, more on the side of people who break the law than the people who are enforcing our laws. That, newsflash, Chris Coons, you've created as a United States Senator. That's all ICE is doing. Enforcing the laws that are on the books. The Democrats come off as more vested in, more on the side of illegal immigrants than they are people trying to enforce our laws. And so we come back to the idea of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, in which the American public doesn't like the Republicans, and they shouldn't. But how many times have we seen it here? How many times have I heard it over the years? You're right about the Republicans. You're right about abusing the finances. You're right about the taxes. You're right about the crony capitalism. You're right about the corruption. But I just can't let the Democrats be in charge. And so the Republicans keep doing Republican things. The Democrats can't just be normal. They can't take moderate, mainstream positions on pertinent issues that would make them more palatable to the average voter. All right. You guys heard about this woman, Angie Nixon, in Florida? She is the Democrat nominee for U.S. Senate. She won the primary, I think it was last week. She is a DSA person, Democrat Socialist of America. This was a big upset. She was running as a much more moderate candidate, and she won. As soon as she won, Sabato, the crystal ball guy, flipped it to solid Republican from likely Republican. I mean, she has no chance to win. I have no idea what the Democrats were doing there. But wow, this lady gave an interview, Angie Nixon. She is dumber than a box of rocks. Holy smokes. And one of the things that's fascinating about this interview and this clip we're about to play is, remember, AOC went on ABC a couple weeks ago and declared woke dead. Woke 1 hour was kind of crazy, wasn't it? And the logical pushback on that was, well, you guys said it was great when it was happening. So what's changed? And they don't want to answer that. People like AOC are not going to answer that because they actually don't believe it was bad. They know the public has turned on them on that, so they need to tell you, well, it kind of got out of control. The obvious other follow-up is if there was a woke 1.0, then there's going to be a woke 2.0. So what does that look like? So on one end, you've got AOC and a lot of the left say, oh, woke's dead. That was crazy. What happened 2020, 2021? Yeah, those people got out of control. This woman here, Angie Nixon, she apparently didn't get the memo because she is very upset about the attacks on woke. And I don't think she's content with the idea that woke is a thing of the past. Take a listen.
Ron DeSantis had this attack on woke, this stop woke, because he wants people sleeping. He wants to ban the ability for us to go out and protest, the way in which we can wake people up and do mass protests and mass mobilizations, trying to make it so that people could run folks over in the street if they blocked the street while they were protesting. And it is them attempting to stay in power and control. And the reason they want to stay in power and control, Melissa, is because they realize that there's a new rising majority of like Black folks, like Latinos, people of color, women, folks who've been marginalized. And they realize that we make up this new majority. And if we come into power, they are fearful. They're fearful that if this group comes into power, all these marginalized people, that they're going to do to them what they've done to many of us for hundreds of years. But history shows that that's not what happens when marginalized communities come into power.
I don't know. 2020 was pretty violent. Lots of people died, including right here in Indianapolis. A lot of people died who were totally innocent. Looting, rioting, buildings burning. You know, and I love it's always the Republican guy is the racist. Well, they don't like us because we're Black or Hispanic or a woman. Well, newsflash, my wife is a Hispanic woman and she thinks the woke people are insane. So tell her she's racist. Go ahead. I'd love to see that conversation. The point is she's letting the cat out of the bag that the DSA people, of which AOC is one, and the DSA people who are taking over the Democrat Party, they're not sorry about anything. They don't regret anything from 2020. They want to do more of it. They're disappointed they didn't accomplish more. If you vote for the Democrats, that's what you're going to get because that's who runs the party now. In terms of, I'm talking about a congressional or a Senate election. It's a horrible thing in this country that our choices are that group of maniacs and these Republicans who don't give a damn about you at all either. They're not insane. They're just kind of evil. But the Democrats make themselves so outside the mainstream, so outside the level of electability to any normal person that the Republicans oftentimes get to remain in power and keep screwing up the country the way they have because the other side is just, it's not an option. You hear that? There's no way if you're a normal person, you can be like, yeah, sign me up for that. No way. And it's too bad. It's too bad. All right. Hakeem Jeffries. He is the leader in the House for the Democrats. It is believed he'll become Speaker of the House if the Democrats take over the House of Representatives this fall. He was on with Wolf Blitzer on CNN, and he basically confirms impeachment of Trump is coming if Democrats get control of the House.
If you become the leader, the Democrats become the majority in the House, are you open to pursuing impeachment of President Trump, or are you ruling that out?
Well, we've made clear we haven't ruled anything in, and we haven't ruled anything out. And certainly, as I've indicated, Jamie Raskin and House Judiciary Committee Democrats, I was a proud member of the House Judiciary Committee for 10 years, as well as Robert Garcia, and Democrats on the Oversight Committee are going to take the lead.
They're impeaching Trump. Let's just get ready for it. If we're doing this show this time next year, we'll be talking about a Trump impeachment if they get the House. They don't have any option. Their base demands it. One of the One of the bad things about these Trump impeachments is it's diluted the importance of what an impeachment actually is and holding our elected officials accountable. And it's one of the great mistakes that the Republicans made in 1998 by impeaching Bill Clinton. Not the impeachment was bad, but that they allowed the narrative to be about this affair he had in the White House with an intern. It wasn't about that. It was about that he lied under oath. Bill Clinton was not impeached for having an affair. Bill Clinton was impeached because he lied under oath. If you or I did it, we go straight to prison. He did it. That's why he was impeached. He should have been. He knew what he was doing. He lied. But now the impeachment process means nothing. Both of those Trump impeachments, the phone call, in which the phone call was proven basically 100% correct, and then the thing on January 6th where he told everybody to go home, both of them were equally ridiculous. And yet that's the standard now. And the Democrats are going to do it again. It means nothing. Nothing. It means nothing. All right, one other piece of audio. We played a little bit of this for you the other day, and I wanted to add on to it because, look, you got to showcase. You got to showcase who these DSA people are and what they actually believe in and what they actually want to do. And one of the things that the DSA people definitely want to do is a wealth tax, in which they tax people based on money they've already earned or money they haven't monetized. Now, we pick on the DSA people. We do this here in Indiana. The Republicans do here with property taxes. So, full disclosure, right? If you're a Republican voter, you can hate the left for this, and this clip I'm about to play you, and you should, but the Republicans do the exact same thing here every year with property taxes, in which your taxes go up based on an asset you haven't monetized. And that's standard operating procedure here. But the Democrats, they want to take money from you based on what your actual wealth is. Not the money you've earned year over year, but the actual, your wealth growth. Money, stuff you've accumulated, and stocks, bonds, whatever. So Abdul El-Sayed is this DSA guy, total maniac, running for Senate in Michigan. If this guy gets in the Senate, it becomes one of the most 100 powerful people. I very rarely ever cheer for the Republicans these days, but they got to get it together in Michigan because this guy cannot get in the U.S. Senate. That would be it's like Bernie Sanders on steroids. And this El-Sayed dude was on with Jesse Waters on Fox News. And they got on the wealth tax. And he is, listen to the way he feels about you. I mean, now they're talking about people like Beyonce. But what you've got to remember is it may start with the wealth tax on billionaires or millionaires. It's going to hit you. That's the way this always works. Government always grows. Government always eats. Government always consumes. And so listen to the entitlement that this El-Sayed guy believes that he has to other people's money.
So you're saying Beyonce, who just became a billionaire, she has to break you off something every year? She has to pay the politicians?
It's not me. It's the American public.
You're
Beyonce,
the one that wants the money.
Happy to be able to contribute back to the public schools that she went to. I think she'd be happy to invest in good roads in her community. I think she'd be happy to pay a little bit more so that everybody had a little bit more.
You're reaching a little deep into the pockets,
to be defending billionaires from your channel, Jesse. That's a crazy thing. I thought you were for, I'm just saying, look, at the end of the day, I thought you were for the everyday man. If you're for billionaires more than you're for every other person, well, you and I are just going to disagree.
No, I just think I have the right to the fruits of my own labor. That's America. It's not communist, what you're talking about.
No, the problem with
Let me ask you about socialized health care.
Billionaires don't make money. And let me just answer the question.
Sure.
No, let me go back to that.
Go ahead.
Billionaires don't make their money off of their labor. That, I think, is where you head off. Billionaires that make their money off their money. So if you have $1 billion, your billion makes another 100 million. That's not the fruits of your labor. That's just the fruits of your money making money. I think it's okay. Like if we tax you at 7%, you're still going to make, what, a cool $30 million off your $1 billion? I think it's okay. They're going to be okay, Jesse.
Yeah,
They decide when you've had enough. That's how a guy like Al Saeed views it. I'm the decider. I decide when you've had enough. I decide what you're allowed to earn. I decide how much you get. You owe it to me. You notice there's never the same level of obligation or accountability from the government. It's why I was so against the wheel tax in Indianapolis. Does anybody have any faith that Joe Hogshead's going to actually fix the roads with that $100 million they're going to get next year? That you're going to see a market improvement in the roads? If you're remotely honest with yourself, over the long term, the answer is no. Because the government is destined for failure by its very creation. Our founders warned against this from the very beginning. And yet a guy like El Saeed believes the onus is on you. You haven't done enough. It's never that the government can do it better. Never the government can do it cheaper. Never the government can do more with less. It's you've got to give more. Now, are there structural problems in our economy? Yes. Do we need to revisit the tax code to reward all taxpayers? Yes. Is a tax system set up to help wealthy people who can hire an army of accountants? Yes. Those things are all true. But the answer isn't just arbitrarily looking at people and going, you've been successful, give me more. They're two different conversations. They're two separate analysis with two separate solutions. And the answer is in a government, a federal government, that pulls in trillions of dollars, trillion with the T, annually. The solution is not to make other people pay more. The solution is, how do you do a better job with the monies that you've confiscated? How do you do a better job with the monies you've brought in? You can bring this argument back here. Something like $17 billion or something like that was collected in property taxes last year. Billion with a B. And yet we keep hearing, well, they don't have enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. Like, it's never enough. No matter how much money these people get, it's never enough. You are always asked, you are always mandated to pay more. It's on you. It's never on them. And this guy is laying it out to you about what the future looks like. And you can say, well, screw those billionaires. Okay. But eventually it's going to be screw you, because there's not enough from the billionaires to do all the stuff these people are going to do. Not even close. And there's not enough from all the millionaires. And eventually, whatever tax bracket you're in, or whatever income bracket, or whatever quality of life you're in, it's going to get to you. So you better wake up. You better pay attention. You better be aware, because it is coming. Speaking of wealth, whether you're buying your first rental property or growing an investment portfolio, financing matters. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps investors explore loan options designed for rental properties and long-term wealth building. As a local mortgage advisor, Gary works one-on-one with investors to help them understand their financing options and create a strategy that fits their goals. Learn more at loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. All right. You're listening to the Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to find anywhere else. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Greg Ballard is going to join us, former mayor of Indianapolis, now running as an independent candidate for Secretary of State. He put out this proposal for a voter guide yesterday. The Republicans are absolutely losing their minds over this voter guide. And so we'll talk to him about that. We're going to talk to Ballard about, should those votes be counted in the Spencer-Deery race? Should the government be able to throw out votes because the government didn't process your vote properly? And we'll ask about this controversy about men and women's sports. What are his actual views on men and women's sports? That to get to and a whole bunch more. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a break. Be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Look who it is. Former mayor of Indianapolis, now candidate for Secretary of State, independent candidate for Secretary of State, Greg Ballard. Hello.
Sir, how are you doing?
You look like $1 million. And
I'm not there yet, but no.
Get better looking every time I see you.
Don't tell my wife that.
You had, she better watch you like a hawk. So you had a big press conference. This is airing on Wednesday. Today, Tuesday, as we're putting this together. And it is the Indiana Voters Guide. This is sort of one of your first major policy positions as the Indiana Secretary of State if you're elected. This thing is awesome. Tell us about the Indiana Voters Guide.
It's very special, actually, and it's down to the precinct level.
I love this.
So the technology of this today is very special because that's not really the cost of this. It's the cost is going to be printing and distribution. But the technology of it is pretty simple and can be done. And this is my precinct. So don't go looking for your precinct. This is my precinct, actually. But it has locations. It interacts with Google Maps, so you can see your voting centers. If you do it by app, because it's hard copy and app.
Yeah.
With the app, it interacts with Google Maps to find them. When you can vote, where you can vote, how you can vote, all that's in there. Your rights when you vote, if you're challenged at the polls, that's in there. How to do that. Everything that's on your ballot for
your
address is in there. Everything. So most people don't know there's 2 constitutional amendments on this year.
Yeah,
you know that, but not a lot of people know that, and it's in there.
So let's talk about why you think this is important, because there's a cost to this, and we'll get into that here in a moment.
Sure.
But why you think this is an important policy position that you rolled it out.
Low voter turnout.
Yeah, we stink.
We're near the bottom of the nation. And I think so many times people don't know what they do. That it's going to take too long. The lines are too long. This will help with lines because on the back page of this, on the hard copy, is your ballot.
Yeah.
On the app is your ballot, and you can take it into the voting booth and already have it filled out or already know what you're going to do. And so then you just go down the line. So it doesn't take, you're going to save a lot of time. The lines will move further. But I think when people know who and what they're actually voting for or what's on the ballot, they'll go more.
This is going to save me so much time because I have to do this for my parents, where I got to go to the website. Hendricks County has the sample ballot.
Right.
I got to go print it out. I got to get them to them. This has saved me so much time, and it's legitimate. It's like going to a ball game. It's like a program you get at the Indians game. It's got the precincts in there. It's got, as you said, the ballot questions. It's got the Secretary of State. And look, Ballard is so humble. He put himself, I don't know if you guys can see this real close. He put himself at the bottom of the Secretary of State's office election guide, even though shouldn't you be at the top because you're the BAL is that
I think it's based on the last voting cycle.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
if that makes sense to you.
Very good. All right.
By party.
I just thought you were being very humble.
I am. But it's very thorough, as you can see. Lots of data in there, and then it goes right to who you're voting for. Pictures. Each candidate will get a statement. We'll put their statement in there.
Oh, so this is like the local newspaper.
So get your
what do you stand for?
What do you stand for? And then also what the office does. So if you don't know what the office does, there's a description of what the office does.
Yeah, like what does the surveyor do?
Yes.
I've been in the
there.
government, and I ask that question to this day. What do you do? All right, how much does this cost? You know me, I'm a cost guy. Yeah. What's this going to cost me? I like this until I see a price tag.
We think on average about $2.5 million per cycle. A little bit more probably in presidential years. But it's 1 penny for every $100 the state spends. 1 penny for every $100.
And that's like one no-bid Morales contract you get rid of, and you'll be fine.
Well, I think there were several examples of that where if they push me on it, I think we'll have a couple things in our hip pocket like, okay, you spend it on this, but you don't want to spend on the most sacred thing we do in this country, which is to vote.
This will help a lot of older people, too. I think older people will like it.
I think younger people, will too, because of the app. And you can take the phone in the voting booth and you know what you've done ahead of time. We're really hoping that the app has a lot of effect with the younger voters, and they can take it in there.
And you're so nice. See, like it's your sample ballot. You've got all the pictures of the candidates, and you don't have anything disparaging where they would be putting their statements. See, I would be putting all sorts of disparaging statements in there, and you just said the space left blank for candidate statement.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy.
Greg Ballard, mayor of Indianapolis, is our former mayor of Indianapolis, is our guest candidate for Secretary of State. So was this your brainchild? Did somebody come to you and say you should do it? Tell us how you came up with this.
I think several people had this idea, and they thought this was an appropriate thing to do. And Nathan, who you know, Nathan Gotch, really did the background, more background than probably anybody has ever expected us to do. And so he was very instrumental and was instrumental in putting it all together. It's kind of funny using my precinct in Boone County. So, but you can see it's very detailed, but it's easy to read. It's a simple thing to go through. And on apps, you do your thing on there also. So I think it was a team effort, but Nathan's kind of, in the execution part of this, he certainly was the man.
Yeah, for the price of 4 Andy's A settlements, we can have a voter guide to every
not every house, every voter. So if there are 2 registered voters in the house,
it'll be 2 a house.
However many registered voters are there, that's who's getting them.
Well, now I can't mark my wife's ballot in advance.
Yes.
Really screwing that up.
So that's it matters, right? It matters a lot, and how we do this, because we don't have good voter turnout. There's 2 reasons for this problem. This is one of them. They don't know what they're voting on. The other one is there aren't competitive elections in November.
That's right. Which you're trying to fix.
Which I'm trying to fix, not just this year, but into the future.
All right. I want to get into that. I got a policy question for you.
Sure.
You may have been following the Spencer Deery lawsuit, which is to the Supreme Court now. You, as a Secretary of State, would be Diego Morales, who voted in the recount commission to throw out ballots because the government didn't mark them correctly. What would you have done as the tie-breaking vote as Secretary of State? Are you counting those ballots or are you throwing them out? What are you doing?
I am not counting votes that were where it was easy to determine who the voter wanted. You can't throw those ballots off.
So you would have counted them. You said they're good.
I was speaking to some veterans yesterday, and I got fired up at this. Actually, we didn't wear that uniform all that time for people to not count their votes, for God's sake. What are they thinking? But I said something. You asked me something similar before when you were in your previous occupation on the radio. And I said something that's never would have happened. So this is I'll say that on this one right now. The recount commission should be 5 retired judges.
You think get away from the political appointees?
Yes. Get away from the political appointees. Then we won't really have that issue. Why are there political appointees deciding these things? And it's pretty clear because before those votes, the largest faction in one of the parties wanted to subpoena voters.
Oh, yeah? One of the guys who voted to throw the votes out wanted to subpoena the voters.
So what country are we living in here?
Well, you got to run ads on that, right? Like when people find out about this, especially if the Supreme Court does what they should do and they reinstate those votes, I mean, that is your whole campaign, right? The whole thing is so partisan now that it's gotten to a point of ridiculous.
So when I say the independence of the office, which I've said repeatedly, will not endorse, donate for, fundraise for any of that. I won't do any of that stuff at all. I'm out. Once you're in the office, you're out of it. This is why in the last month, they have proven me true time and time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, like I think about like Diego. I would trust the 9 most recent figures in the American Greed saga before Diego. But Mullen, I can't figure out because he's an attorney. And the law appears crystal clear what it says about government making mistakes on ballots. And yet he was like, yeah, just throw them out.
You're making my case. That's why the office needs to be independent of politics. Running the elections cannot be a partisan event. It just cannot. And the recount commission is making my point over and over and over again.
Yeah, Greg Ballard, former mayor of Indianapolis, candidate for Secretary of State, as our guest. You got an event tonight when this airs, Wednesday night. It's not technically a debate, is it? What is it?
Well, they're calling it a debate. It's kind of a candidate forum / debate. We did a candidate forum in Hamilton County last week.
You did.
So we all got to know each other pretty well.
You got to be meaner to these guys. You're too nice, Ballard.
I'm actually trying to be the nice guy here.
That's not going to fly. I need some smoke, man.
So, because I've said repeatedly, and I mean this, it's too toxic, it's too heated out there, and we need to calm it down a little bit. And I'll try to maintain that tomorrow night. I'll try to maintain that. But it doesn't mean I don't speak plainly.
Yeah.
I do speak plainly, as I just did.
Well, if you had that survey that came out, now that's a political class survey, but you were the
I was the leading, yeah. And he put something out again this morning on it and looking at it differently also. So where they had me on top. So
I feel like you got to be a little rough with these guys though, because they've been rough with the voters and the taxpayers. Am I wrong? Can you win being a nice guy?
They're being rough on me right now.
Yeah.
And
you're handling better than I would.
And I just, frankly, it's a mixture of laughing and sadness. It's sad to see.
That's how the taxpayers feel.
It's sad to see what they're doing at this point in time. Because there are obvious lies and just mistruths or whatever, however you want to say that. And it's just so sad to see them get to this point.
All right, so let's get into that because I feel like you walked into a bad situation on WIBC. I think you have a guy there who was supporting your opponent.
No question.
And I feel like that maybe you didn't handle that the best. Do you feel like what is your position on men and women's sports? Let's just start with that.
All 4 of us have the same one. I mean, we don't want boys and girls locker rooms. I mean, we all know that. So, I mean, that's been the way forever. And I think everybody, frankly, all 4 candidates kind of agree on all this. I mean, we've actually talked about it behind the scenes. So, but yeah, I mean, that's where it is, right? That's where it's always been. So we can't do. It just makes no sense. I'm not sure why this is an issue ever in this race.
So why did you say that you thought Holcomb was right to veto a bill that would ban men?
So anybody who listened to that knew what I was saying completely, because 4 years ago, the situation was different, right? This was an issue just coming forward. And several states were debating what to do. It wasn't really a national thing yet. It really wasn't. And I said, what was pretty much a Republican thing at the time, not so sure it is today, which is why have government do this, right? We had no issues in Indiana, and anything that had crept up, the high school associations had dealt with it cleanly, and so limited government is something I believe in. I've always believed in. And at that time, this is a different time than 4 years later, no question. At the time, it seemed like limited government was the way to go at that point in time because there were no issues in Indiana at the time on that. So there are other states going through this too. You don't have any issue with the law now? No, not really. No, not at all. Actually, because that's the law, and they did it. I have to be frank. Do we need a law to do this? But apparently, others thought we did. And no one is disputing the substance of the law. No one is disputing the substance of the law. It's whether my discussion was about that. How does it transform from your opinion on it, which is, like I said, I listened to the interview. It's pretty clear. I listened to your quote at the time. It's pretty clear. Yeah. To he wants men and women's sports. He's scared. Yeah, I think you're right. They got nothing else to run on. He's scared. So we're putting forth stuff for the Secretary of State's office. That's right. And they're talking about that. Speaking of Secretary of State's office. So they're scared. He accepts, he being Engling, a $60,000 donation. Do you believe there's any possible way he didn't know the status of that corporation when he accepted the donation? We'll have to see how all that plays out. We'll have to see. So nice. I am. I know. It'd be easy to go after that, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Frankly, Rob, I don't want to misspeak anywhere along the way on that because that's a pretty big allegation. We'll see. We'll see what happens eventually. I think you have to make the case to people that you're running about more than Secretary of State. You're running for the people. You're running for millions of people to be able to be involved in the political process who are otherwise excluded. How do you feel that's going? Do people understand what your campaign is actually about? They do. I got asked just yesterday about what's your elevator pitch. I said, I'm sorry, there's no elevator pitch here. There's why I want to be the Secretary of State, and then there's also what the future looks like. What the future looks like with more voter choice, with greater ballot access for people who want to run, all those things is going to be extremely meaningful in the future. That's how we're going to do this. Because we've said repeatedly that we think the lack of competitive general elections in November is the main reason for the toxicity and people not talking to each other, on and on. So if we can get competitive general elections in November, we think that makes a huge difference. And that's what we're doing in this race, but we want to do that in future races also. Yeah, I love it. I mean, let's face it, the libertarians, they can't get it done, right? You got to have a viable third party. It's got to be you. You're the choice. Right now, that is absolutely the choice. And, well, you know this. You've said it on your show. 1 in 5 Republican registered voters could run as Republicans and Democrats. Yeah. Everybody else is excluded. Yeah. They want us to pay for their primaries, for God's sake. And this is what I tell guys like, we love Indie Reporter. He's a little mean to you. But I tell him. I can't figure out why either. I told him, I said, look, Ballard should be everything you want. You are, and I think that's the case you got to make to people. You are the opportunity for literally millions of people to be able to participate who otherwise can't participate. That's exactly right. I've said this repeatedly because when I talk to reporters especially, but in different groups, I say the same thing. If you don't like what's going on in politics today in Indiana, it's this year and it's this race where you can change that. That's extremely important. It's not going to come around for a long time again. It's this year in this race. And that's what I tell people. I tell all the reporters when they say, what haven't we talked about? That's what I tell them. It's this race. All right. There was a feeling 19 years ago, and it was right about this time, right, that there started to be some rumblings like some weird stuff was going on. And then you kept hearing like there's magic in the air for this guy. Do you have like the same feeling now? Is it a similar mood out there for what you were able to do in 2007? I've said that to my team almost every day. And do they believe you? Or they're like, whatever, man. Well, they know I've been around the block once or twice. So the main sentiment I get is thank you for doing this. I hear that routinely. And also I was at the state fair, people coming up to me. I go in the ice cream shop. You love ice cream. Are you really that big a fan of ice cream? I eat a fair amount of ice cream, but not over the top at all. But we thought I'm worried your wife is going to have to keep a better eye on you because I'm very concerned about your diet. No, it's okay right now. It's okay right now. But it's a nice little thing to go into towns and go. I always ask, what's the famous local ice cream shop? And then they tell us. And so that's where we go. And I think that's been working actually pretty well. I always get a hot fudge sundae. I'm a very plain guy. I think you know that.
Same place everywhere.
Yeah, same thing.
Hard to screw that up.
Yeah, so, but it's really good. Actually, before we came over, we looked for one, but it wasn't open. Who doesn't open ice cream?
Yeah, in the summer.
Ice cream is fine for breakfast.
Yes,
I just don't understand why people don't do this. but we've been doing it for a while now, and Jeffersonville and Columbus and West Lafayette, just so many great places, good local ice cream shops, and we give them a little love and say this is a great place.
All right, one question before we let you go. You had to burn through a lot of money to get on the ballot. I think that's a campaign pitch right there about how much you had to spend to get on the ballot. Can you raise enough money now to given how much you had to spend to get on the ballot to be on television?
Well, we're certainly trying hard. I'll tell you that. It was kind of funny after he got on the ballot. Everybody thought, oh yeah, he could do it. First of all, everybody said I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then we got it done.
Except for me, Ballard.
Yeah,
I said from the beginning, he's in.
But it was almost like we took a breath for a couple of weeks to try to get back on balance a little bit. So we're actually ramping that up right now. We have weekly fundraising meetings, and we're calling people a lot. I still have some cachet around central Indiana, and so I think that works to our advantage. We'll see what we can do in the future here.
I need more friends like you. I need less friends like me. More friends like you.
We're blessed, though. I mean, people appreciated what I did when I was the mayor, and I think that plays well. People knew whether you agreed with what I did or not. You knew I was doing it for the right reasons. I wasn't doing it out of spite or anger. What was the right thing for the long-term health of Indianapolis? What was appropriate for the citizens? That's what I was looking at, and that's what I'm doing now. Obviously, because you're right. This is about more than me. This is about what's the best thing for the state of Indiana into the future, because this closed voting system that we have is terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Well, this thing with the recount commission is the thing, right? And it's not whether you like Spencer Deery or Copenhagen. It's how are you throwing out people's votes who voted because of government companies?
And how do you have the arrogance to ask to ask for subpoenas?
Yeah,
ask them why they voted. Wow.
This is it. It's the voter guide. If people want to learn more about the voter guide, if they want to learn more about you, how do they do that?
GregBallard.com.
So easy.
/guide if you want to look at that specifically.
Guide. But if I just want to learn about you, GregBallard.com.
GregBallard.com.
Mr. Mayor, a pleasure as always.
Rob, thank you so much.
Thank you for what you're doing, and go out there and raise some hell.
I will.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Welcome back, guys. Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government you're not going to find anywhere else. We'll talk about that interview with Greg Ballard here in just a second. But first, it's Wednesday. That means it's Wing Day. Wang Day. Buffalo wings. The sauce. They got all the sauces, right? The spicy, you name it, at Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. The wings are outstanding. I can say that from experience. You know, something underrated there, the green beans. I know people like C Mills are always bragging about the potato salad, but the green beans are pretty awesome at Double D's too. They're open Wednesday through Saturday, lunch and dinner, right there in Clayton where 40 and 39 come together. Ribs, brisket, and more. They've been the winner of Best Ribs, Best Sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. A little bit of a drive, totally worth it. See the full menu for yourself. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue, ddbbq317.com. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, ddbbq317.com. All right, so the interview with Ballard. And coming up later this week, actually it'll air on Monday, we're going to talk to Evan Bayh. And I'm going to be fascinated about that. I think that is, because he doesn't do a lot of interviews. And I told somebody that the other day. I said, yeah, Evan Bayh's coming in. They were like blown away that Evan Bayh, because he doesn't do a lot of interviews. The Ballard thing is fascinating to me because we've never seen anything like this before in Indiana politics, in which you have a third-party guy who can legitimately fundraise and legitimately garner votes. Now, Abdul did that informal survey that he does every couple times a year with Indy Politics. Ballard was leading in that survey. Doesn't mean he's leading in the race. Like if you took an actual scientific poll, Ballard's probably not winning. But amongst the political class, the people who pay attention to politics, Ballard was winning. He's going to do, at the very least, okay. There is zero doubt we're going to have a new political party in Indiana. Now, the question is, will it be a general ballot access party, or will it be a primary ballot access party? And that's the big one. You know, there's two things at play right now with the Ballard campaign. Number one, what does he do to the race overall? Who does he pull from? How does that alter who the next Secretary of State is? And then the second part of this equation is, and the bigger one for all of us, will we all get an opportunity to participate? Right now, and this is where I think the message has to be if you're Ballard. And for people like me, it's why I'm interested in the campaign. Ballard doing well opens the door to millions of people being able to participate. His views don't even matter. His views don't even matter. Look, some people who I think are smart people totally don't get this. It's an administrative position. The Secretary of State, it's why I've been so pissed off about Diego. The Secretary of State has no power other than that granted to him by the General Assembly. The General Assembly, the Republicans, could have stopped Diego from day one, and they chose not to do it. All the stuff Diego's done is because the General Assembly has allowed it to happen. Ballard's views don't matter. That voter guide doesn't matter. He can't print the money. He can't spend the money unless it's allocated by the General Assembly. He doesn't have the ability to do it. The only way that would happen is if the General Assembly said, okay, we'll do that. Now, you can debate the merits of whether it's a good idea, bad idea, whatever. I do think that's going to resonate with a lot of older people. I think a lot of older people are going to see that and go, that doesn't seem like a bad idea. Doesn't mean that, hey, I'm on board with that. That's awesome. Maybe compromise on that is we create an online portal that does it to that extent. If that's the end result, okay. That seems like a fair thing to do. I don't know. But the views don't even matter. That's the crazy thing. It's why it's so pathetic that the Republicans got so hung up on Ballard's view of men and women's sports, which I think he made pretty abundantly clear. He's in no way, shape, or form supportive of men and women's sports. He had a philosophical difference on whether the government needed to pass a law, given that the IHSAA was already enforcing it. If you think he's wrong, okay. If you think he's right, okay. It doesn't mean that he supported men and women's sports, and it's pretty pathetic that the Republicans have so little to run on with that office over the past 4 years that that's what they have to talk about. And they're more worried about Ballard than they are by, which should also tell you something. Now, I'm an undecided voter, so I can say whatever. I'm the coveted undecided. But you have to think of Ballard's campaign not in terms of whatever his views are or how he mayored Indianapolis. You have to see him as nothing but a vessel to open up the ability for millions of people to be able to participate who have been shut out by the Republicans and Democrats because of this stupid two-primary voter rule. So many people, regular people, would now be able to participate in the political process that have been iced out. That's it. That is the extent to which I think of Ballard's campaign. He's not a communist. He's not wanted in a post office. He's not on the run from the law or under serious criminal investigation. Check those boxes. Everything else doesn't matter. Ballard's campaign, to me, is about being able to open the doors to millions of other people who've been shut out by the Republicans and Democrats. And that's why the Republicans are so worried about Ballard. Republicans got to defend on two fronts. One, they got to stop Ballard from getting enough votes from their guy to cost him the election. And I don't know if these are going to come out or not. There was a rumor. You know how rumors are, right? We're pretty good on this. There was a rumor that there's been some polling done and the results aren't great for Max Engling. Now, the fact that no one's released a poll yet, it's almost September, 2 months until the election, you're going to tell me none of these candidates have done any polling? I don't think anybody believes that. So the fact that nobody's released a poll shows I don't think anybody has anything great to run home about. There is supposedly a poll that's been done, and the numbers are pretty dreadful for Max Engling. They have nothing to run on. You can't run on the office. And you can't run against Bai because he doesn't have a record. You can call him whatever Nepo baby or baby Birch or whatever. That doesn't mean anything to anyone. Now, I will tell you that I think the reason Bai's opening salvo was that pro-gun ad showing his, military record, etc., was he knows the path to victory for him is he's got to peel off some Republican men. And that's what he's aiming for. He's banking on all the Democrats are going to vote for him. He's going to get a certain number of the independents. He's got to get men. He's got to get Republican men to vote for him. And if he can do that, especially if Ballard does well, he's going to win. The Republicans know they're in some level of trouble. Now, such a Republican state, they may ultimately keep the office. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. But they've never had to play defense like this in the past decade and a half. Republicans have always been on de facto offense because the Democrats are so bad. Now you have a good Democrat running and you have Ballard in the mix. And so the voter guide, it doesn't matter. It's interesting. It's something to talk about. It's something different. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because he can't just print it. The General Assembly would have to say, sure. What is fascinating, though, is the Republican response where they are far more outraged about a policy proposal rather than actually giving Andy Zay $625,000. The Republicans are more angry about a policy proposal in a campaign that their party would have to approve for it to get enacted than they are Andy Zay actually getting $625,000 of taxpayer money. Than they are $250,000 of taxpayer money actually going to a suite at a race. Greg Ballard has thus far spent zero in state of Indiana taxpayer dollars. None. Not a one. Zero. The Republicans are way more outraged at a policy proposal from a guy who spent zero taxpayer dollars than they are Diego Morales actually wasting $300,000 on unused vehicle history reports. Fill in your favorite, or Adam Krupp getting all of that money now to be a special advisor to the governor, or all the money we gave Jennifer Ruth Green. They're far more angry, pissed off, outraged, whatever word you want, about a policy proposal that their party would have to approve to be enacted than they are the actual money and poor decisions that have been made. That should tell you everything that you need to know. Like, because people are like, Rob, how could you this? I'm not for it or against it. I would not spend that much money. It's not going to get enacted unless the Republicans say it's a policy proposal. Look, there's the thing that's going on, and then there's what's actually going on. And the thing you need to pay attention to, which is what this show is about, because we treat media, we treat politics, we treat the government different than anybody else because we have a different background and a different life experience, and we see it different than everybody else. The response to the policy proposal tells you far more than the policy proposal itself. Look, I think Ballard's too nice. I think you got to bring some smoke. I get that he's got the persona, the dignified, the statesman. Screw it. People want to see some fireworks. Let's go. And I think I told him that. I think the same thing is going to be true about Bai. I think Bai is going to bring some smoke, though. This is not about cheerleading for Ballard or Bai or any of these people. It's about telling you what's going on. And the fact that they are outraged or angry or upset far more about a policy proposal than actual taxpayer money in the millions and millions when you add it all up. That should tell you everything you need to know. And with the Ballard campaign, the smart voter has to always be thinking about Ballard's campaign, not about whatever policy proposals or ideas or whatever he has at the Secretary of State's office, but his ability to open the door to millions of people to be able to participate. Once he raises enough money to run ads, that's what the ad should be. I'm running for you. I'm running to give you an opportunity to be able to participate because the Republicans and Democrats, they hate you and they don't want you participating. I think that's a winning message. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, guys, this week it's open in Brazil on the water. Great dining experience. It is open Friday for lunch, Friday for dinner, Sunday brunch buffet. They're closed Saturday this week because they got 2 weddings to cater. So your opportunities to hit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Friday for lunch, Friday for dinner, Sunday for brunch buffet. And don't forget the cottage as well. You make a weekend of it. On the water, in the woods, beautiful Brazil. The cottage is amazing. It's 3-bedroom, 2 baths, spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with a fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. Book the perfect weekend away, the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. You can find it by Googling Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Call for more information or reservations, 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003. All right. Fascinating article in The Hill. And it is a reminder that the public has absolutely no idea what's going on, including many Republicans. And I don't think anybody even knows what a Republican is anymore. I sure don't. Do you? Like, if I were to tell you I said, finish this sentence. The Republican Party is blank. What would the short answer be? The Republican Party is blank. When I was growing up, I believed I was Republican because they espoused to be the party of low taxes and limited government. We've certainly waved goodbye to that a long-ass time ago. And this article from The Hill, I read this, and very few things surprise me in politics anymore, but it is just the latest reminder of how nobody has any idea what's going on and nobody knows what it even means to be a Republican anymore. Senator John Fetterman, Democrat, Pennsylvania, is more popular among Republicans in Pennsylvania than the state's actual GOP Senator Dave McCormick, according to a new poll. Fetterman, a Democrat who votes with the Democrats the majority of the time, is more popular with Republicans in Pennsylvania than the actual Republican senator. What are we doing? Dave McCormick was elected in 2024. He's not a conservative, but he's also not like a super lib. He's like a mainstream Republican senator. And Fetterman is a Democrat. Yes, he has a couple of opinions that align with the Republicans, but most of his votes are with the Democrats. The New York Times, Philadelphia Inquirer, and Siena University poll of registered voters in Pennsylvania found that 73% of Republicans in the state have a favorable opinion of Fetterman. What are we doing? The guy is a liberal. The guy was elected as a liberal. He's just not insane. Somehow that stroke reversed something. I don't know. He should be studied in a lab. But he's not or at least what the Republicans claim to be. He's a Democrat. He's for big government. He's for big spending. He's for big taxes. And yet, 73% of Republicans have a favorable opinion of him, while only 63% of Republicans view McCormick favorably. 10% more Republicans view the Democrat senator favorably than the Republican. 49% of independents in Pennsylvania have a favorable view of Fetterman. 36% have an unfavorable view. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Democrats' opinions of Fetterman, however, are more negative than positive. You have a Democrat senator who has much higher approvals amongst Republicans than Democrats. 63% of registered Democrats in the state say they view Fetterman unfavorably, 22% favorably. He has a 73% favorable rating amongst Republicans, 22% among Democrats. That is a significant reversal from 2024, when 74% of Pennsylvania Democrats had a favorable view of Fetterman, 20% said they viewed him unfavorably. I come back to nobody knows what's going on anymore. Nobody has any idea. He votes with the Democrats most of the time. He has a couple views that aren't aligned with the Democrats. He's pretty vocal about those views, and now the Republicans love him, even though he votes against them most of the time, and the Democrats hate him, even though he votes with them most of the time. Nobody's paying any attention to anything anymore. Republicans now to 7-10 margin view Fetterman favorably. This is up from 25% in 2024. We are a headline society. We don't read past the top of the page anymore. And Fetterman is now using it to garner all of this support from Republicans while still being a Democrat. It's fascinating. Hey, do you guys have a dog? We don't have a fenced-in yard. HOA won't allow a fence. Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime they go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers, freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is a cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system designed to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime you're outside. Now, I know a bunch of you guys have asked about All-American Dog Fence, like how does it work? And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have Jeff, one of the owners, come in. So a little bit later this week, Jeff from All-American Dog Fence is going to be with us to explain exactly how All-American Dog Fence works and how they keep your pet, your dog. They do more than dogs, by the way, secure. Their pet stop products with All-American Dog Fence, designed and manufactured in the United States with a lifetime warranty. Here's what you got to do. Call or text All American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Visit their website at allamericandogfence.com, allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show, you get an incredible $200 off. Mention the Rob Kendall Show, get an incredible $200 off. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a lot more to get to today, a third hour still to come as well. When we come back, Trump, Politico has an interesting article saying Trump is doing something or not doing something that I have talked about numerous times on this show, and the politicians in Washington are starting to catch on. We'll tell you what that is. Coming up next, you're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. All American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back, guys. It's the Rob Kendall Show. You know, it's politics and the media. The thin skin of some people, man. Like, good grief. That's right. You guys, it don't matter what platform we're on. The people find us, right? It don't matter where we're at. The people find us. And look, the reality is you can be for why people are mad about the obvious is beyond me. And I think that is one of the things about why we've always been so successful. We point out the obvious. The things that are occurring in front of us, we say them because we're not invested in any side or any team. We don't care. Whoever is the Secretary of State is not going to change my life one way or another. It's just not. It's an administrative position. I have full faith that any of the three are going to be actually able to administer the office. Now, I said about Engling, you can't elect him if you want to know the truth about all the crap Diego pulled. Without debate or without discussion. You cannot elect Engling if you ever want to know what actually took place in that office. I don't think that's in dispute. He's done nothing so far other than tell one delegate, and then he's totally just ignored it, about some sort of special investigator that he once appointed. Remember that? We might have to pull that audio back out because that has just disappeared. He said not a word about it. They're going to cover it up. They want Diego swept under the rug. But I don't think businesses are going to be failed to be administered if Max Engling's the Secretary of State. I don't think they'll be failed to be administered if Greg Ballard is the Secretary of State. I don't think they'll be failed to be administered if Bo Biden is Secretary of State. I think any of those three. Now, I do think if Engling's elected, it's going to happen regardless, but he will be the cheerleader to shut up the primaries. They're going to close the primaries down. That's the way Republicans operate. He'll be a cheerleader for that. If you've got Ballard, you'll have some sort of pushback on that. But the General Assembly's going to do whatever they want to do regardless. Same thing with the Spencer Deery, Paula Copenhaver stuff. My life's not going to change at all, whether it's Spencer Deery or Paula Copenhaver in there. I'm not saying those votes should be counted because I want Spencer Deery to be a senator. I don't care. I think Deery'd be interesting now because, as he espoused to us, he got hit right between the eyes with who his coworkers are. And so he might be a different person. But in terms of a policy change that's going to affect my life, it ain't going to happen. I believe legal votes should be counted. I believe legal votes should be counted. And I think you have legal votes sitting right there that were for Spencer Deery that are being thrown out. And I think those people deserve the right to vote. I think it is the right to vote. I don't think it's the opportunity to vote if the Republicans process your vote properly. Or Democrats or whoever. Like, we say the obvious here. And the obvious is there are a lot of people who are, I think one of the reasons, I was thinking about this yesterday. One of the things that has happened, and it's probably been this way for a long time, but I think it gets amplified in a social media era where everybody can see everybody, see their views, see their thoughts. The politics has become more than just a life view or a world view. Politics has become a social club. Like a public social club. When I first started out, my views are largely the same now as they were when I started out. I was totally welcome in the Republican Party. I was kind of like viewed as like a sitcom character. But people were like, he's an elected person. Or then when I was a member of the media, I got invited to stuff, and people disagree with me on things. It was fine. That's why I kind of like the Republicans. I viewed them as the free speech people. But I think over time that has certainly changed. My views haven't changed. My expression of my views hasn't changed. But yet I'm like banned from the Lincoln days. I can't get a clear answer if I'm welcome to come to the Task Force meeting Saturday morning at Arbuckle Park in Brownsburg. It's a park. I don't see how they could get rid of me. But you know me, I'm a notorious rule follower. I think politics has become this social club now. And whatever you are, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. And so many people are afraid to speak out now, or they get hyper offended if someone else speaks out because it's the equivalent of doing it at like the country club. Well, you got to go along with whatever we say, or socially we're going to ostracize you. And because so many people have their friend circle, their social circle involves around the politics, they've either blocked themselves off completely to free thought, or they're so worried about not being quote unquote friends or in the club or with the cool kids or whatever. Trust me, the politics are not the cool kids. That they will just say or do whatever. People see through it. People see through it. When you got to come and talk every day, especially, people see through it. Like, audiences are smart, especially audiences that engage in politics, political talk radio. It's not 1995 anymore. People are independent in their nature. People are independent in their existence. They don't see it as black and white anymore. It's a bad business model today. And it's why the podcast world is caught on. Why is Rogan so popular? We've talked about this before. Rogan's kind of seen as a guy in the middle. Why is it when Rogan supported Trump, that was such a big deal? Because he doesn't normally support politicians. There's some sort of meaning behind it. It's a guy who generally comes off as kind of not liking either side. The public can see what's going on. They vote with their clicks and with their with their listens and their shares and all that stuff, right? And yet with the politicians and some people in the media, they're just like the most thin-skinned group of individuals I've ever met. When you're not even saying anything bad sometimes. You're pointing out like the obvious. You're for this side. You're in bed with these people. I get that all the time on social media with these hanger-on people that I'll spar with. Like, it's okay to have free thought. You don't have to always agree. You can say, I think you're full of crap. Like, I'm generally on your side, but on this one, I don't know, man. You know, like a great example of this. Max Engling is clearly being deceptive when he's trying to act like he didn't know about that corporation that gave him $60,000. Clearly. There's no wiggle room. The complainant, David Shelton, alleges that a year ago, he was making posts on social media promoting the group and listing their status. 11 days before he accepted the illegal $60,000 donation, he was their special guest at the Republican convention. The group in question is super connected to Jim Banks, who was his boss. It's ridiculous. Well, they wired us the money. Well, how did they do that? The wire ferry? Like, that is insulting to everyone, and most people see through it. If you're not going to press on that, then people are going to believe you're in it for an outcome. Not for the audience, but for an outcome. Like, he's full of it. He made a huge mistake. He accepted the donation. It clearly was illegal, which is why he gave the money back. It's okay to say, man, you screwed that one up big time. And then move on. But we don't do that. And so I'm bringing it full circle with all this stuff with Ballard. We're not about policy discussion anymore. We can have a fine discussion about whether $2.5 million on a voter guide is a good use of public money. That's great. Let's do it. But what I'm not going to sit back and just not say anything about is guys who said nothing about the Andy Zay settlement or the Diego unused vehicle history reports or $250,000 at a suite at a IndyCar race or the Krupp position or Jennifer Ruth Green or any of this stuff. All of these just horrible uses of taxpayer money. And not a word gets said, and then they pretend to blow a gasket over a proposal of a voter guide. We're seeing, and this is why what's going on in Indiana is really interesting and why the Secretary of State's race is really interesting. You're seeing society sort of split apart because the people who are paying attention recognize they've been lied to for so long. This true story. This happened yesterday. You guys know one of my favorite places to have lunch is the Brownsburg Arby's. Still is. Don't get to go quite as much. Schedule's a little different now, but I was there yesterday. And I'm sitting there and having lunch, and a guy comes up to me and he goes, you know, hey, I missed you on the radio. I said, oh, great, appreciate that. And he goes, man, let me tell you how it used to, and then it starts the conversation, right? And you gotta have it, right? You can't just say, hey man, I'm trying to eat my roast beef. You got to have the conversation. So he goes, let me tell you how it went with you. And it went this way with you every single time. I said, okay. He goes, you'd say something and it would piss me off. Like I'd hear it. I would get so mad at you and I would say, he's full of it. And I just get so mad. And then a few weeks would go by and I'd listen to you talk more about it. And I'd think about it more. And then the politicians would do something else. And I'd say, damn. He was right. And then the next thing would come and I'd get mad at you again. And then a few more weeks would go by. And then I'd realize you were right. Exactly. That's where the people are. You're seeing a fracture of society because people are starting to think for themselves. One of the things the internet has done is open up the ability for people to consume information on their time. As they want, where they want. They're no longer funneled into silos to consume information. 30 years ago, so we won't go back to the Stone Age, you had local news, you had local radio, you had your national radio, you had guys like Rush who were out there. You had the nightly news. You had your favorite magazines, Time, Newsweek. And that's sort of about it, right? Like you got the information that the publishers wanted to give to you when they wanted to give it to you. Now you have infinite ability to think for yourself, to gather information for yourself. Our business and politics as a collective, because I've always said there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities between politics and government, politicians and the people in the media. They have not kept up. They've not kept up. We still treat a lot of people still treat this business the way it was 20, 30 years ago. And a lot of politicians operate the way they've always operated. It's why terrestrial media is in big trouble. And politicians consistently enjoy abysmal approval ratings. People are desperate for something different. And I've always thought that difference is in the independence, in the idea to think freely, to speak for yourself, no matter the issue. And if you're on one side or another, people see it. You can be mad that I say it, but people see it. It doesn't make you a bad person. You're just on a team. Do whatever you want to do. You shouldn't be enraged that I point out the obvious. If you're one of these people on social media that I deal with all the time, you're a homer. It doesn't matter. You're not interested in better government or a better result. You're interested in that side winning. Okay, it's your social media. You can do whatever you want to do with it. If you're a media person and that's you, you're entitled to do your radio show, your podcast, your TV show, however you want to do it. People see it. Just because I say it doesn't mean everyone else doesn't see it who doesn't say it. Wild times we live in. It's like we're having this ultimate conversion of the past with the future when it comes to free thought and independence, and it is fascinating to me. It is absolutely fascinating. I'm glad we're here. Speaking of being here, we're here for hour 3. Yes, we are. Brought to you by the great John Russ. Thank you to John Russ for bringing us hour 3 each day here on the Rob Kendall Show. Don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, RSVP Big Rust event, Saturday, October the 3rd at the Palatial Rust Estate in the greater Seymour area. All you got to do, RSVP. Rustforamerica@gmail.com. Rustforamerica@gmail.com. There's going to be patriotic music, antique car show. I'm going to give a speech. Lunch is catered by Double D's. Birthday cake for Jason's birthday, and a whole lot more. All you got to do, tell John, hey, I'm coming. My name is Johnny so-and-so. I'm bringing my wife and my 2 kids. That way John knows how much food to order from Double D's Barbecue and how big of a cake to get for Jason's birthday. And if you're one of those people that doesn't like me on social media or in the terrestrial media, you're welcome to come as well. I'm fun to talk to in person. All right, we'll take a break. Hour 3 coming up next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Welcome back, guys. Hour 3, the Rob Kendall Show. If you haven't done so yet, help us out. Give us that little thumbs up. Please like this feed, whether you're watching us live or on demand on YouTube. Help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Fascinating article in Politico saying something that I've been saying with you guys here for months now. And it's about Trump's unwillingness to deliver for congressional and Senate candidates on the campaign trail. And I've told you guys this for several years now. I think a great issue that Trump has is his lack of interest after something is done in selling it to the American public. And we've talked about before, I think that's because in the business world, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's the game itself. It's, I want to try to acquire this thing or make this deal. And then, boom, I'm on to the next thing, where the thrill is. Politics is the exact opposite. The getting the thing passed, that's sort of the easy part. Convincing the American people it's great for you and to support the people who supported you, that's the hard part. And there's no benefit to it because you've already done the thing. And Trump ain't interested in anything but Trump. And so he has really, unlike previous presidents, you hardly ever see him go out and do selling after the fact for causes or candidates that have supported the causes. And yes, he does the rallies, but I'm talking about sort of the more retail type of campaigning. Hey, we're going to this business. We're sitting down with this group of people. We're talking with them, in a little round table. You see presidents do these sorts of things. And especially with the big, beautiful bill, it's been almost non-existent. I mean, he'll go to a rally. You're giving more money in your pocketbook. When reality is most of the big, beautiful bill just let people keep the same amount, right? You don't see, you see these high level, big, large scale events, but not the traditional retailing. And one of the things that there is concern amongst the Republicans in the House and Senate who have voted for most of the Trump agenda is, what's this guy doing to help us? You keep hearing, I've raised $850 million. I'm going to spend it all. But it hasn't translated into much yet. And so Politico has an article in light of Darlene Graham winning yesterday in the Senate primary in South Carolina. Of course, she is the sister of Lindsey Graham, who he passed away. She was appointed to his seat. She has now won the special Republican election to be the Republican nominee. She won last night over a guy by the name of Ralph Norman. And it was a close race. People initially didn't think it was going to be that close. Graham made a huge mistake in a debate, basically admitting she doesn't know much at all about the military or foreign policy. And Trump had to really come bail her out. There was a lot of people thought Norman, she exposed herself big time. A lot of people thought Norman was going to win the election. She ends up winning by about 5 points. It was pretty close. And now there's a piece in Politico about some real hurt feelings by Republicans who have been voting for the Trump agenda for years on how much time and resources Trump has put into Darlene Graham, not going out and helping Republicans in swing states who are going to need it against the Democrats. Here's what part of the piece says. Quote, the president hasn't taken a meaningful step into the states that will matter in a few short months, even as battleground Republicans have been clamoring for him to spend his MAGA Inc. money. Quote, it's now or never. It's put up or shut up time, and it's really time to start to see if he's going to get serious, one GOP strategist said. You've got September and October to really move the needle here, and it just doesn't seem like there's any sense of urgency or like we understand that we are down big in some of these states. Spot on. It's exactly what I've been saying. When your whole strategy is utter alignment with one individual, you need that individual to be able to deliver for you. You need that individual to be able to sway the election in your favor. And that means, number one, that individual has to be liked. That individual has to be popular. That individual's support has to mean something. And then that individual has to put in the work. In the case of Trump, we're not really seeing either of those. He's not popular. Horrible approval ratings. While he might still be popular in Republican primaries, it's not translating into the populace at large. And two, he's not putting in the effort. And if you're somebody who's voted consistently along the lines of a pro-Trump agenda, now you're looking at this going, well, but what about me? I did everything you asked me to do. Where are you and where are your resources? This piece goes on to say, quote, the message coming out of this is obviously the president's support is still super powerful, talking about Darlene Graham's election last night. The president's operation still has the ability to move the needle in a lot of these states, said a Republican strategist working on several battleground races, including in Georgia. Quote, hopefully this is a sign of things to come, that the president is willing to get involved and really start to move the needle in some of these places that obviously matter a little bit more than South Carolina. And what they're saying is, that Republican, whether it was Ralph Norman or it was Darlene Graham, is going to win South Carolina. You're spending all this time and all these resources on a primary in which whoever the Republican is, and it's not like Norman's some super lib or anti-Trump guy, you're going to get most of what you want. Why isn't this money being put in to win in places where you're going to need them to avoid impeachment? You're going to need them to keep control of the Senate to get your judges through. Or if you get impeached, to not get convicted, right? It seems sort of counterintuitive. So as we said, Ralph Norman, he's the guy who Darlene Graham ran against. And he was not, in his concession speech last night, you could tell he was not too thrilled, and his supporters were not happy that Trump wasted all of this time and all of this money on the South Carolina race. Let's face it, he gave it to Darlene Graham when Norman's like, hey, I've been a pretty loyal Republican and Trump follower through all of this too. The piece says, quote, Norman's bewilderment reflected several national and South Carolina Republicans' confusion as to why the president would expend energy for the safe Republican seat when his MAGA allies like Mike Collins in Georgia, scandal-plagued Ken Paxton in Texas, and Michael Whatley in North Carolina are facing Senate battles against Democratic opponents. Tough Senate battles against Democratic opponents. Look, there is a strong chance Texas goes for the Democrat. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It tilts red, But Ken Paxton is a dumpster fire. And if they lose that seat, that's solely on Trump because Trump endorsed Paxton in that runoff. Trump could have said nothing, or Trump could have gone with Cornyn. And I'm not saying Cornyn's a great guy. He's been there forever. Too old. Time to go home. By too old, I mean he's been there too long. But Trump gave the election to Paxton, who is a complete personal skis bucket. And Taralico, the Democrat, is beating the hell out of him on it. You should have known it's going to happen. You don't get to, have sour grapes when everything was known about Paxton. The stuff about the alleged affair while he's in office, the stuff that, he got impeached by his own party. He was, what was the deal where he pled guilty, but it technically wasn't a guilty plea related to this years-long investigation. There was all this stuff about him that you have to know the other side is going to use against you. You know it's out there. The public knows. Your own party impeached you. It's pretty hard to run away from that. And Trump was like, sign me up. In North Carolina, Roy Cooper, the governor there, is a Democrat. He's been around forever. He's very popular. He's running for Senate. Looks like he's going to smoke this Michael Whatley guy. Where's Trump on that? Mike Collins in Georgia, running against John Ossoff. Georgia should be a Republican state. But yet they have 2 Democrat senators. Politics, government, is about putting in the work you don't want to do. It's why I got out of it. I reached a point where I was like, once I turned 30, I said, I don't want to do work I don't want to do anymore. I'm tired of having to listen to people I don't like. I'm tired of having to listen to people that are a pain in my ass. You know who I listen to now? Jason. That's it. In a professional environment. That's it. I don't have to listen to anybody else. And I've never been happier doing this because I show up every day. I talk about the things I want to talk about. If people don't like it, they can go somewhere else. We try to make it a welcoming environment. I think we do a pretty good job. But politics is about that. It's doing stuff you don't want to do with people you don't want to do it with. And in the case of Trump, you're the president of the United States. These people, these senators, these candidates for Senate, these House members, candidates for House, they've lined up around you. They've lined up around your agenda. You've got to deliver. There's no one else who can do it. There's no one else who can make the sales pitch. It's all on you. And if he don't want to put in the work, and look, the work is way bigger than just spending your money. The work is going places. The work is getting out the vote. The work is doing the rallies. The work is doing the retail campaigning. Not Trump's favorite thing to do. Anthony Gary, he owns IndieDwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just show houses. He finds you homes with everything you're looking for, explains your options, and gets you an offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's an expert negotiator, and he would love to help you reach your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, IndieDwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159, Anthony Gary, IndieDwell Real Estate. And with that, it's time to take a great career risk and put you, the fabulous listeners, viewers, in charge of the Rob Kendall Show. We read your comments, the best comments of the day. It sparks further conversation about things we've talked about on this program. Producer Jason reads the best comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Jason, hello.
Hello, Rob. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. Owner John McKinney, he's a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. Water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give him a call. Give him a text. John McKinney, he's your guy. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing. 765-315-7558. Give him a shout.
I should point out,
he's waiting to hear from you right now.
New edition of Pigskin Plays and Props came out today. Kenny Britt, myself. It's week 0 of college football, people. So it's in the videos tab on the YouTube feed. It's also should be in all the online platforms if you're a subscriber there, Apple, Spotify, iHeart. We're taking a look at 2 games this week for Week 0 of college football, North Carolina versus TCU, and North Carolina State versus Virginia. We're also talking about how do you judge teams that you haven't seen play, especially in the transfer portal era. We have no idea how these guys work together. Check it out if you like what we do here. If you want to hear some sports talk, Kenny Britt, myself, Pigskin Plays and Props, available now when you get done with the Rob Kendall Show here today. The conversation doesn't have to end.
There we go. We get started. MLM Warriors. Nice shirt, Jason. Thank you very much. Kevin Branham. Hello, Jason. Well, hello, Kevin. C. Mills, it's time for the legend. All right.
You were busy today.
But enough about me. That's right. The chat was a little chippy. It's funny when trolls come in and call other people trolls. It's like people that I've met. Okay, for everybody, Theller is not a troll. Theller, Tom Heller, has been here for.
Yes.
He's an OG. He's been here for a long time. I've met Tom. He's a real person. It's funny when people come in and, well, you don't disagree with me, so you must be a troll.
Or okay,
a bot.
The way the YouTube chat works, you got to be a subscriber to the channel,
and he knows better than that.
And we have hundreds of people that throughout the course of the show, various shows, will pop in, make comments, which is great. Our only rule for the chat is you got to treat it like a member of decent. You got to act like a member of decent society. Mm-hmm. You can't be calling people names. You can't be threatening to fight people. You can't be using profanity.
You can't just run in, scream, and yell, and I'm just going to pop you out. It's our chat. If you don't like it, go to your own. Make your own chat.
We got about 60 people who are, if you're here at any length, are pretty regular people that are, basically like everyday type of people, hundreds of people throughout the course of the week or whatever, but these sort of regular people. And yes, many of these people are fine, upstanding citizens who are here every single day. So those are the rules of the YouTube chat. You can't be inciting. You can't be name calling. You can't be swearing. Other than that, pretty much let you guys go.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me.
No.
You don't have to agree with me.
Yeah. Just, yeah. I mean, you can insult. Well, you can't insult Rob. There's no reason to insult.
You can say it wrong.
You can have a point. The point of the chat is to make a point, not to just pop in and, disrupt things. And that's where I get like, no, you don't need to be here. You need to go start your own chat if you're that damn important. And you got a point to make, then, if you're going to be disruptive, go start your own chat and you can talk to yourself and your 2 other friends.
Yeah, we don't like go on other people's chats and try to disrupt them. We respect the boundaries. You've got your thing. We got ours. We expect the same over here.
Mm-hmm. And again, don't want to make it about me, but Christy Avery, Jason is the bomb.
It is about you. It's your segment.
Bang, to bang. Okay, here we go. Starting with last night in the chat. We opened the chat up 5:30, 6 o'clock. I've kind of got my internal clock now. Kind of like it tells me, hey, wait a minute, it's about 5 or 6 o'clock. Make sure and get the chat up there so everybody can pop in. I don't know why we just don't start it right after the show each day. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. There's probably no reason not to. Maybe we'll do that eventually. But we can't do that right now. Kevin Branham, this was sometime late last night. I'm going to hit the lottery and finance Rob.
Oh, what am I doing? Like finance me what? Just in general?
Show, yeah, just he wants to be another John Rust. And who wouldn't be?
Oh, think about the things we could do.
Who wouldn't want to be?
Isn't that a Dr. Seuss book? Oh, the places you'd go?
It's been a long time since I've read Dr. Seuss.
That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, there we go. The Chris Chafin. I would love to see Rob in office. A lot of people would lose their minds.
$10 million.
Maybe that's what Kevin meant about financing you, maybe to run for governor.
$10 million. That's what I need.
It's easier just to get the money and not have to run for office.
$10 million.
Yeah. Josh Richardson, Chris, Rob, the new sheriff in town, he would clean house and expose a ton.
Okay, so this is what I would do if I were to run for governor. Mm-hmm. And this is exactly what I did when I won my other election. Mm-hmm. I told everybody, 1 term. We're doing it 1 term. We're going to raise as much hell as we possibly can. We're going to break down as many walls as we can. We're going to disrupt as much as we can. Because if you only run for 1 term, they can't hang your reelection over you. You never have to make a choice based on, well, we're going to work against you. We're going to this or we're going to that. Mm-hmm, and then that way you can just be your own free, independent person. And that's exactly what I do as governor too. Oh. Can you imagine those 4 years? How much fun that would be?
Oh, it would be. It'd be a blast. I'm sure there'd be a job there for me somewhere. I could drive.
That's what you're focused on? Chance to save the state, and you're focused on whether you'd have a job?
I got retirement coming. I gotta save as much as I can. I could drive your $90,000 Tahoe. I'm a good driver.
You need to get yourselves one of them Andy Zay settlements. That's what you need to get.
I need a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
I am.
I could appoint you to the IURC and then fire you. And then you could get one
that'd
of those
be
Andy.
sweet. Then I wouldn't have to work. Oh, yeah. Paying me without working.
Isn't that was? So think about this. Whether you're for the Ballard voter guide or not, right? And reasonable people can agree, disagree, whatever. It's fine, right? And you say it's too much or whatever. Not a word from these same people about the governor handing a guy who just days before alleged what are essentially major campaign finance violations. He just hands that guy $625,000. Not a word from these same people. But Ballard's proposal on a voter guide, that was a bridge too far for them.
The elected mafia. All right, continuing on. Christy Avery pumped as hell about the Fort Wayne City Council unanimously denying the flock contract. Definitely a lot of clapping in the audience at that vote.
I saw that. I think I'm going to cover that tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Maybe you get somebody from Fort Wayne on. Well, too late to probably. Sorry. I mean, put that in your...
Yeah, just give me something else to do.
If you were on top of it, you'd have somebody from Fort Wayne.
Yes, if I was.
Although
on top
that would
of
be
it.
a producer's job, wouldn't it?
I don't have enough to do.
Traditionally.
Thank you.
I got the chat to worry about, though. Kevin Branham can't fall asleep. That was probably about 2 a.m. But he did win his 4-leg parlay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. When you say that next time, Kevin, tell us what the parlay was. So
you got to let me know what it was.
Yeah,
and I want to know what the payout is.
Yeah,
I want to know if my campaign for governor has now been financed or not.
Spray jockey, I got a golden ticket. Thank you, John Rust.
Oh, did the Rust event? Yes, he sends you a golden ticket.
That's right. Who's your watch? Good morning, Southern Indiana here to represent. Give them heck and hold them all accountable.
That's what we do.
That's right.
Look, we're just in our little corner of the world. It's just a little goofy podcast. I don't know why anybody cares.
Why would anybody even listen?
Why would anybody come?
Josh Richardson, get ready for the best podcast and best chat in all of YouTube land.
Well,
that's us. He adds, it's a great day to have a great day. I woke up thinking the same thing. What a great day to have a great day.
You know, I found this. I don't know if this works for you guys. I always try to say something good is going to happen today. Something positive is going to happen today.
I believe it. And we still got a lot of the day to go.
Something positive is going to happen today.
There we go. Keep that thought, Rob. Farmer Tom, that'd be Mr. Bartelt. Did you note the chat did not reset at 6 a.m.? Producer Jason will be able to read all our words of wisdom from last night. Well, I did, but I can't spend the whole time reading those. We've got more to go. But yes, the chat is awesome. If you're not familiar with what the heck we're talking about, go to YouTube, check out Rob Kendall. We post it for the next day. You can hop in there, people chat, and it's a family thing.
But you got to be a subscriber.
All the bots are in chatting overnight.
You got to be a subscriber in order to chat.
Right, the Rob bots. Spray jockey C. Mills, it's Wang Day. Wing Day.
I'm busy this week,
So
but
you're
maybe
not
next
going.
week, C. Mills, because he's falling on some hard times.
Yes.
I'm going to take C. Mills to dinner at the Double D's.
2 hospital rides in an ambulance, $10,000. Seems like he could get that chopped down.
When did he have a second hospital ride?
I think he said he had 2, and it was about $10,000 or more.
I know the one.
I don't know.
Well, C. Mills, here's the deal. Maybe
he's an
next
injury-prone
Wednesday.
dude, apparently. Calm down, C. Mills. You're not getting any younger.
I've got too much going on this week, but next week, C. Mills, I'm going to try to take you to dinner at the Double D's.
Okay. Good job. Okay. Rusty, Wangs. MLM Warriors, good morning, everyone. Today is National Dog Day, observed annually every August 26th.
Thanks to our friends at All American Dog Fence protecting dogs so that others can enjoy National Dog Day.
Would have been a good day to coordinate that.
How about that? Well, we did the interview.
Yeah, he'll be here Friday.
Yes, so in honor of National Dog Day being Wednesday.
We're only a couple days off.
I didn't know that. We would have played it today.
We use the Chinese calendar.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Kenneth Eagold, morning, y'all. I buried one of my dogs last Thursday. We had him for 15 years, and he was probably a year old when we got him.
Oh, that's horrible.
He had a good life.
Sorry for your loss. Dogs are awesome.
Thanks for giving him a good life, though.
Yep.
The Chris Chafin. Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to a fired up Rob. You were fairly fired today.
I just think the hypocrisy. Like, if you want to say that's the most stupid idea for that voter guide.
How much was it? $2 million?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. That's, I mean, you can't pick the pothole for $2.5 million in Indiana.
Look, I would probably not be doing it.
But you add up a bunch of $2.5 millions, it gets to a lot.
Right, that's my point. But I'm not going to sit here and let people who have said absolutely nothing about all the crap that's gone on the last 4 years like act like they're suddenly outraged over a policy proposal.
Right. All right, that's only, 4 Zays?
It's 4 Zays.
There we go. Gravity Hill Gambler, sometimes I take a couple weeks off of, back up here just a little bit. Sue Seifert, love hanging out with y'all here, but this political circus is exhausting. Gravity Hill Gambler, sometimes I take a couple weeks off of anything political. Sue Seifert, I'm getting close, but this chat just makes it much more palatable.
That's right.
Boom.
The chat is where it's at.
Brought that back around. The chat keeps you involved. Right. Well, just you got to every now and then you got to breathe. That's what I tell my mom. She's like, you got to relax, get away from the news channels because they're just regurgitating the same thing over and over and over, just the same opinions. Because news happens about once a week, and then they spend the entire week just getting opinions of people that you've never heard of and don't care about. They get your blood boiling, and every now and then you just got to, go over to Andy Griffith or something.
The boss once said, "It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the only
yesterday
line
was the
he ever
51st anniversary of Born to Run?
I could name 3 Bruce Springsteen songs.
Born to Run, 51 years ago yesterday.
Yeah. All right.
51 years ago. Can you remember 50 years ago?
Yeah, I was here 50 years ago.
I know, but I mean, like, do you...
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Could I remember it?
Well, that'd been 1975.
I have flashbacks.
Remember 1975?
I do, yeah. Well, okay. I wasn't like driving cars or anything in the Jimmy Carter gas line.
But I mean, like my earliest memory is like 3. I can remember vaguely, like there's flashes.
Yeah, I have about probably 3 years old or so. Maybe a year or two before kindergarten.
As you get older, like you don't lose memories over time.
Right.
You can still remember being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Christy Avery, what color shirt do we have today? I'm thinking pink or salmon. And this was before you came on. So this was before the show even started. All this stuff so far has been before the show even started.
It's hard when I
Christy
pick the shirt
correct.
because I know somebody's going to be, it's going to be their best day.
They're going to be disappointed.
Somebody's going to be disappointed.
Yeah. The Chris Chafin, white tank top. It reads Beckwith 2028.
Never been a tank top guy.
Never seen Rob in a tank top. Very small shirts when he was first working out and thought it meant something. Debbie Holcomb, hello, beautiful people in the chat. Rusty B, he also got the color right of the shirt.
Excellent.
Okay, Debbie Holcomb, can't wait to hear what Ballard has to say today. And then we move on to the Ballard conversation. Gravity Hill Gambler, I really like the voter guide idea. 06010 board, what candidates make the guide? Which candidates get the bio?
He said it's going to look like we've got it over here. It's going to, who's ever on your actual ballot. So whatever offices are on your actual ballot, everything from surveyor to coroner to president.
But who writes up the bio? Like who actually?
The candidate. There's going to be like a submission
So they all
window.
have to submit their bio.
I guess if
they
you
can
choose
say anything they want about themselves, and there's no check and balance to make sure they've not fibbed or.
I think you.
Does he have the details on all that?
Well, maybe he doesn't. I think my whole thing was he said, look, everybody who is a candidate is going to be allowed to submit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I mean, the local newspaper usually does that. There's usually like the county newspaper will have an election.
But the county newspaper writes it. They don't submit a thing to the candidate and say, tell us about yourself.
They do. The hell they don't.
And then they just print it verbatim. Boy, the newspaper business has gone down.
Tell us about they don't have writers anymore to do all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, back when I was a newspaper man,
I don't know how they did it in the 60s,
we had to go through each individividual candidate and gas them and then challenge them and then write it up.
They've got they've usually got a bio section, and then they've also got usually they do a Q&A with the candidates.
Lazy newspaper
Get with the times,
people.
Man.
Lazy people.
That's why he said I'm taking the state won't be involved in any partisan activity because you're going to get the right.
Yeah, technically, the only thing I have against this whole thing is it's not a reflection of his age, but I mean, the newspaper, nobody reads that anymore because it's physical. The voter guide, it's physical. You're going to mail that. There's so much cost. So much easier electronically. Here's the website if you're interested in voting, because you're going to send that to millions of people who will never vote. So, I mean, I do see that. It's like, that's a little antiquated, I think.
No, I agree. But what if the compromise out of it is it's only just the online one?
Then I'm fine. Because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Maybe that's the compromise.
But who puts it up there?
Well, the Secretary of State's office would maintain it.
Oh, so Diego gets to control.
Well, not after the January 1.
Diego-like people get to control what's there.
It could be Bo Bai controlling it. Mm-hmm, could be Ballard controlling it.
Mm-hmm,
Vote wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Vote wisely. There we go. Gravity Hill Gambler. So many people vote and have no idea who they're voting for. That's crazy. Driver, doesn't Ballotpedia website do that already?
But you got to go to each election. You got to click the thing. You got to put it in.
Yeah, so much work voting.
Look, we are one of the least, and we may have the lowest voter participation in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Do we care about that?
Is it because they're less educated, or they just because they figure it doesn't matter if I vote for an R or D, it's all the same crap?
Well, I think that's part of it. So this is my question is, do we, and this is a societal question,
I get to vote for this guy who's going to raise my taxes or this guy who's going to raise my taxes?
Do we actually care about voter participation? If the answer is yes, do we want to make a concerted effort to raise it? If the answer is yes, what do you want to do that? If the answer is no, we don't care, which is kind of where I'm at.
I mean, people in Russia vote too. They exercise their right, but is it really, are they really
like I said, I think the thing he gave me was cool. Mm-hmm. I would not be for spending $2.5 million on it. Mm-hmm. I do think a lot of older people, which is going to be his voter base, I think they would like that.
$2.5 million for the first printing.
Yeah,
that's
it's a reoccurring thing.
Right, but that's his. You got to wonder where he got that number from. Was that just he called a printer and they said that, not realizing that the government pays more for everything?
Here's what I think needs to happen, because they got that hobnob thing tonight, the Indy Chamber event.
Mm-hmm.
I think Engling needs to call him out on it, and I think he needs to look at Engling and go, how the hell did you not know that the status of a group, that you were their special guest 11 days before you took a $60,000 illegal donation? These guys need to get something going here, because it's been boring as hell so far. Let's have it out tonight. Engling, throw a grenade at the voter guide. Ballard, throw a grenade back at Engling, accepting that illegal donation. You guys get going.
Ballard won't even raise his voice. MLM Warriors, pressing the like button is like voting. Rob has earned it.
Thank you.
Rob has earned your vote. Rusty B, hit that like button. 06010 board. Someone please check on the businesses. They're wondering where you're at, Diego. All might is here. Government wasting money is like breathing. Debbie Holcomb. At least the voter guide would benefit the voters, unlike the vehicle guides and all of the other crap the GOP has spent.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you go to the state fair thing and it's Diego koozies and Diego this and how is that? I didn't hear any Republicans screaming about the Diego koozies. At least the voter guide actually is for the voter.
You screamed, though, didn't you?
Well, I did.
Yeah, somebody did. Driver, heck, you would do... Okay, never mind, sorry. Well, driver, we'll get back to you later. I don't know. Gravity Hill Gambler, how about a digital voter guide in printable format? Okay, see, that's I think that's a little more reasonable. Debbie Holcomb, good idea. Okay, back up to driver, I guess. Heck, you could do the whole thing with a QR code for smartphone generation. But Debbie Holcomb says, at that point, you could order a paper copy if you'd like. That would save money over printing cost. And somebody else pointed out that they have, anyway, Debbie Holcomb, the only read that. Golf Tango X-Ray. I've been increasingly meeting people who have done away with their smartphones and gone back to flip phones. I'm not one of them, though, so that would be the problem with getting it with a QR code, was the point I was trying to make there in all my Andy Engel. Here's how advertising on the Rob Kendall Show pays off. A former advertiser here, Vince Savvy, came to my house to do some work. And then I had them, actually him, John, come back and do some more work.
John's awesome. We love Vince Savvy. They've been great to us. Yeah, that's great. Good. Glad it worked out for you. And John is an expert, handyman. He can do all sorts of stuff. He's great.
And Andy adds, and again today, he's back for a third time doing even more work for us.
There you go.
Andy, a very happy, satisfied customer.
We've got a new advertiser coming on board here in the next few days. Pest control company. We are the place to be.
There we go. If you got pest, we'll be able to get rid of them for you.
Not the politicians, unfortunately.
06010 board. AJ's Cleaning will clean and check on the businesses.
Who said that?
That was 06010 board.
Yeah, AJ would do it. AJ's awesome. Amber's awesome. She's great, the lady who owns AJ. She's outstanding.
The Chris Chafin. I send shows to politicians Rob talks about. Quote, hey, Rob talked about you today. Check it out in the link below. Chris, we appreciate that, but I think they staff the chat already, and they have people paying attention to that. But that's very cool. Keep doing that. Shrog Sandwich. Good morning, family. Had to give our bought and paid fors my daily love message. Wrote and called Jim Skanks, Brainless Braun, and Toad Young. White House wait time was too long, so I'll do that later.
They've
got her number on caller ID. It's like, it's Shrog.
She's all over it.
You taking the call today, or do I have to take it? Yeah, I'm sure I'd love to hear a recording.
What's she called, Banks?
Let's see. Banks was Jim Skanks. We don't suggest you do that, but pretty damn
Be nice.
Funny. Pretty funny, though.
Be professional.
Okay. The Chris Chafin. Dolly. I can't think of anyone who has loved more.
Yeah, so I was going to get into that, and then I want to make sure we had time to get to the YouTube chat. I think the Dolly Parton thing is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she was a person. I mean, obviously, she was a popular recording artist. She had the movies. But I almost feel like she was more popular for her philanthropy, her general just humanity, and like how she made other people feel. I feel like later in her life, especially, she became more popular for being a phenomenal human being than all the accomplishments she had in acting and singing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Dolly Parton fan? I've never heard.
I'm not a fan, but grew up. Dolly was always there. Kenny and Dolly, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton show, probably. I don't know, but Islands in the Stream.
That's right.
There we go. Got that one.
What's the better Kenny Rogers duet? Islands in the Stream or with Tina East? He did We Got Tonight. What's the better Kenny Rogers duet?
The We Got Tonight was a remake, so you got to go with Bob on that.
Bob is a Bob Seger song.
Bob Seger song. Islands in the Stream. I'd never heard it before. Don't really ever care to hear it now.
Didn't we play that on our radio station? I feel like we played that.
We probably did. You probably put it in there, and I probably pulled out. When we had the radio station, Rob would go down for a week, then I'd go down for a week, and we'd rotate. And every time, first thing I did on Sunday night when I rolled in was take out all the songs, all the Bruce Springsteen songs that Rob had added in during the week. And he'd come back down and add them all back in.
7 straight days, man.
It was pretty funny. It's like, nope, I know Rob put that one in. There's Islands in the Stream. That one's gone. There we go. Fun times. LD Stoltz, man, yesterday was was a day for sure. Matt Bear, then Dolly.
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
See the Dolly one. She had cancer. Didn't know that.
So her husband, who she'd been with for like 60 years, he had gotten ill. He passed away.
Right.
You see this a lot with older people when, their husband or wife passes away. It's really hard to keep going. She didn't have kids or grandkids. A lot of times that is sort of a motivator for people. And apparently she had kind of I think she had some health issues before. They had sort of reoccurred when she was taking care of him. I don't think she properly addressed those. And then obviously, eventually, it's like 80s good life. She lived full life. Mark, I'll tell you.
80s is kind of new 60s now. You want to get a few more years out if you can. Squeeze a few more of those out.
Mark Patrick, many of you may remember the name Mark Patrick.
Sure.
Bob and Tom for years. You Indiana Life
kind of fell off the radar all of a sudden.
Hosted the Hoosier Lottery. He moved to South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
His son became a pretty famous Major League Baseball player, Drew Storen. And Mark was obviously a huge part of Bob and Tom for years. He posted about the time he met Dolly Parton when she was on the Bob and Tom show, and just what a phenomenally nice person she was. He said, this is great, and Mark's still very funny on Facebook. He said, I walk in, she's sitting there by herself. Like there's no entourage around her. She's just waiting to go in to be on Bob and Tom. And he was like, I was blown away that she's there by herself. And he goes, I'm starstruck, and so I don't know what to say. So I said, you have really nice hair. And she just looks at him and goes, oh, honey, these are all wigs. Nobody's seen my real hair for years. And he said she took him, didn't know him from Adam, right? Just met this guy. She had her trailer there. I don't know if she's doing a concert here or whatever,
right.
But she had her trailer there. She took him into the trailer and showed him all the wigs. She had this guy she just met, and he said she couldn't have been nicer. Just a phenomenally great human being, and those stories are everywhere from people. Just what a genuinely great human she was.
Yeah, you hear nothing negative about Dolly at all. All right, Shrog Sandwich. When I called Brainless Braun's office yesterday, I told them that Rob wants him on the show. No response as of yet.
I'm sure he's going to get right on that.
All right, continuing on. Spray Jockey, Woke 2.0 is so much better than Woke 1.0. Yeah.
You're going to see.
The old man, 68, I bet he didn't give two craps about Don Lemon going into churches with masked, untrained thugs harassing U.S. citizens while they were worshiping. That was, you were talking about, somebody had that comment about ICE and the thugs.
Chris Coons.
Yeah, untrained.
Senator.
I love when they keep saying untrained. It's like, you have no idea what kind of training these guys went through.
Yeah.
They just hired them off the street and, hey, here's a gun, go shoot somebody if you don't think they're an American. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I've never been there. I don't know.
That's how it works.
I don't think so. Here we go. CM Tharp. Wow. Vince Savvy getting some ink today. CM Tharp, John with Vent Savvy installed bathroom vent yesterday. Vent installation was so good it looked like it grew in place. Bathroom was left spotless. Vent Savvy still picking up business.
And full disclosure, John, he does Vent Savvy as sort of like a part-time deal. It's a business he's growing. His handyman business is sort of his main thing. And he's had this business for years. And, he had a great response here, and he just got so much business. He got so far, not behind is not the right word, but he said, I got so much to get caught up on. He didn't really need to advertise the business anymore because you guys gave him so much business. So it's good that you guys are still giving him business, and hopefully he'll be back with us soon.
All right. Let's see. Thomas Ho. Indiana voter turnout is embarrassing. And again, we're talking about Ballard, the actual interview now.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people show up only for the interview and then insult others like they know who they are or whatever.
And they leave.
I don't get that. Gonna have to talk that. Gravity Hill Gambler. Yeah, then they leave. Gravity Hill Gambler sounds like he has a good plan for this voter guide. Christy Avery. They should sell advertising in the guide to pay for it.
Like that. Christy Avery's a smart woman.
You spend out, let's see, if you're sending out how many? He said to everybody, every registered voter.
That's what he said.
So you could have 2 or 3. I mean, most households, a couple people, at least 2 or 3, anybody over 18, 2 or 3 of those per household. That's kind of a heavy mailing day. You got to trust the post office is going to get all those out and get them there. But yeah, that's that's gonna 7 million household, no 7 million people. So they wouldn't all get a voter guide.
Okay, so look, and you know this because you've owned businesses. We've run businesses. In the business world, your original idea may not be the final idea. It's a conversation starter, right? So he's said, look, we have a serious issue with voter participation. Here's my idea for voter participation. You don't like it? What's your idea for voter participation? The Republicans don't have one. They're just screaming about the cost when they don't actually give a damn about the cost. They just don't have anything to run on. What if you end up with some sort of really good voter portal that is updated each election cycle, and it's good and it's easy, and boom, you can go there and write. Like, if you get something better out of it and it costs a lot less, then it was good. He had the idea. He hasn't presented it as an actual request to the state. It's a policy idea. It's just pathetic, the Republican reaction to it.
Nostalgic. Man, I expected to be mad about this, or at least annoyed. It doesn't sound bad. I do believe citizens should be provided information.
I'm telling you, I think a lot of older people are going to eat that thing up.
I'd like to have a local one for the school board, because that's one I never vote for school board because I don't know who they are. I figure one's just as bad as the other, but without that R and the D, how am I supposed to know? Voting straight ticket. Steve Green with an E, fired up. Sorry, that dude's fire went out years ago.
Ballard needs to put some pep in his step. I will say that about
against
him.
A couple youngins that now one of them's a little bland, but I think Bai has a little more personality there, and so yeah, he's gonna again. But people can look at a guy like Bai and say, yeah, good-looking young man. I'd buy insurance from him, but I don't want him running my life. Versus a guy like Ballard. Did you know Ballard was a Marine?
I did.
Or no, was he a Marine or Army?
Yes,
was
he was
a Marine. Oh, right. And so there you got that going. Well, so was Ballard. So was Bai. But Ballard's got the experience, raised a family, that sort of thing.
Look,
so that's a 50-50 right there.
There's a lot of people, and especially the best thing Ballard is going for him is what a bad job Hogsett's done. There's a lot of people that look at the city of Indianapolis, and they look at it where it was when Ballard left, and they say, wish we could go back to that. Ballard got the Super Bowl, the crime, especially to by today's standards, relatively under control. I think most people look at what happened during COVID and the riots and say that never would have happened if Ballard were in charge. So as much as the Republicans want to make it about the blue Indy, and that's fine, right? It's his record to run on it. The average person ain't going to care about that at all. If you get bogged down in the minutia of running ads, here's when you know the Republicans are going to be in trouble. When they start running ads, like paid ads against Greg Ballard. That's when you'll know they're in trouble. And if you're running paid ads against Greg Ballard and Blue Indy, I think
Blue Indy. 99% of the people have no idea what you're talking about when you say Blue Indy. You mean the bus line? Is Ballard the one that came up with the bus line?
Well, these were the charge cars, right, before the bus line.
But there you go. There's
exactly.
my ignorance.
But
I'm an ignorant voter.
But that's my point, is like the things they think people are going to hate for Ballard aren't going to work against Ballard. All they're going to do is give him publicity that he's not. One of the biggest things Ballard has to overcome, probably, I would guess, is the people don't even know he's running. He's got to like educate people he's even running, and you run ads against him. It's exactly how he won the last time. Remember in 2007, Peterson ran all those ads against him, and that turned all the people against Peterson. And they're like, oh, Ballard's running. Let me learn more about him.
Thomas Ho Ballard is a nice guy.
He is, but he's got to get some more fire.
Yeah. Nice guys.
Got to get some fire, Ballard.
That's right. Robert Schwartz, the Deery spectacle is just a preview of what we will witness nationwide. Keep saying the midterms are going to be a crap show, but it sure should be interesting.
If I was Ballard or Buy, and I had the money to do it, which is Buy would, I don't know if Ballard's going to, I would run an ad around Diego taking away those people's right to vote and say the Republican Party, because they've been completely silent on it, stands behind eliminating your right to vote. I would absolutely run that ad all over the place and say the Republican Secretary of State did this and the Republican Party stands behind it.
Kenneth Eagold, Ballard had a good interview with Jody Lorman of Honeysuckle Hill Bistro.
The Bistro, and I know we mentioned this before, they have their own YouTube channel. They do a cooking show with all media people, politicians. I've been on there. And Jody has interviewed the Republican, Democrat, and Ballard running for Secretary of State. She's done the cooking show with them. They fix whatever meal they want to make, and then she interviews them while they're making the show, making the food. It'd be a great midday television show. It's phenomenal.
Steve Green with an E. My man still can't respond correctly to the question of men and women's sports. Just say no and redirect.
Well, I think he did. I think the problem he's got is
it's not his position. It wouldn't be his decision, but you still got to have a position.
Well, the Republicans want him to have a position. He does have a position. The problem he has is his initial position was it's not a problem. As long as it's not a problem, the government doesn't need to be involved. That's not where society's at on that issue. Society is even limited government people are like, this is becoming a problem you got to do. He said that here. He said that in hindsight, probably I'm fine with the government being involved, but he took a position that is harmful to him now, not because he wants men and women's sports, but because society says we want the law that says that.
Tom Heller, a real person, not a bot. A voter guide would be fantastic, ever more so as local newspapers and reporting have died on the vine. Yes, they did. Kevin Branham, another good interview, Rob.
Thank you.
I like what he had to say. Brooksy, seems like we're wasting a lot of money for this, considering Indiana has one of the worst voting participation rates. I think that's what he's trying to do, is reverse that.
Yeah, and it's fair to say it's a waste of money. The question is, it comes back to, do we want to try to increase voter participation? If the answer is no, that's totally fine. I'm one of those people. I don't care. But if the answer to society is yes, what's your plan to do that?
Josh Richardson, everyone hit that like button, even if you're not a fan of Rob.
That's right. Be a fan of Jason.
There we go. Robert Schwartz, we don't need a voter's guide. Geez, the last thing most of these candidates want are educated voters. MLM Warriors, great interview with Ballard. Charles Ludi, Fetterman does deserve some due praise, and it's important to remember that. He had the backbone to stand up to the Biden-Harris clown show as well as the progressive mafia and ideology. I think he gets a lot of points for that.
What did he stand up to Biden on?
He's always been kind of, he's talking about leaving the party, right?
Well, but I'm saying, I
don't watch Fox News anymore. On a daily basis. So
the Israel stuff, he's made very clear Israel is his top thing. If that's good, you like that, then you probably, but what? The spending, he votes with the Democrats most of the time. What What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm loath to defend the Republican Party for anything, but like, why would I don't understand how your Republican senator could have a lower approval rating amongst Republicans than the Democrats. I don't get that.
Right. I'm checking some breaking news here.
Uh-oh. Breaking news.
Yes, breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if it's true. I'm Googling first.
Well, why don't I do this?
Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Tim Curry. We were just talking about Tim Curry yesterday. Tim Curry passed away Tuesday night, August 25th.
Oh, no.
Night. Yeah, that was...
we just mentioned him.
We just mentioned him, and who was just somebody... I think maybe Christy Avery was the one that pointed that out, but I wanted to check that.
We literally just mentioned him.
Yeah, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the trans that he played very well. Most people's introduction to what trans were. Yeah, Christy Avery was the one that pointed that out. Thanks for the breaking news, Christy.
He was great in It. He played the clown in It.
That's right. He was the clown in It. He
was
correct.
Great in Home Alone 2. He was the concierge at the hotel that's trying to get Macaulay Culkin. He was in Clue. He was freaking awesome in Clue. Now he had some. He was I believe he was bound to a wheelchair. He had some serious health problems the past decade or so. I can't remember what his affliction was, but he had been somewhat ill. But like I think he was out doing public appearances and stuff. So.
Crazy.
To say how old he was?
2 and 3. No, it did not.
He was one of those guys that was like older than you'd think he would be.
Well, he's older than me.
Oh yeah, no. I'm saying
I'm no spring chicken.
Like he might have been close to 80.
Yeah, he had to be. Yeah. Well, no, maybe not. I'm not sure. Well,
that's your. Well, why don't you look it up real quick? I'm going to read this Bramwell Mackay.
Okay, and then we've got a few more to bang through. We'll end it up.
Masonry color mismatch.
He was 80.
Previous repair. He was 80.
He was 80. Dolly was 80.
Yeah,
wow.
There you go. Boom. Masonry color mismatch. Previous repair catching your eye. Not happy with the brick color in your home. Ready for a total makeover. Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new. Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, beauty built to endure.
All right, if you're 80, make sure and take your vitamins. That's not
great.
There you go. 81, you're okay. 79, you're okay. But once you get 80, that's the this year. Okay, real quick. Shrog Sandwich. Should I wear my I Pay shirt with the Diego drawing on it to the Rust party? I usually dress up for live painting. She's going to be doing some live painting at the John Rust party. But this seems like an occasion where I could be more relaxed.
Totally.
I'd say more relaxed. Yeah, that could be a long day for you out there, Shrog.
Totally.
Kevin Branham, thanks to the third hour. John Rust. Kenneth E. Gold, thanks, John Rust, for hour 3. Andy Engel, thanks to all who served. Christy Avery, thanks, John Rust, for hour 3. And I think that's there's a few more thanks to John Rust. And thanks to the chatters. The chatters really make this show, give it a totally different dimension than what it would be without them. And kind of gives us a barometer of what people think and all that good stuff. Gives me 15 minutes of fame once a day, my legendary status. There we go. All right, so we do thank you, chatters, first and foremost. Like the voters, we got to thank the chatters. And then John Rust and John McKinney from Black Sheep Plumbing. We do appreciate you guys as well. That'll do it for me. We'll pass it back over to Rob. See you tomorrow. So long, everybody.
All right, don't forget, Pixian Plays and Props available in the video section of the YouTube chat. If you want to have extended more Rob Kendall in your life, that's there. It's also available now in the feed on all the on-demand platforms. Statehouse Happenings will be available tomorrow morning, Jim Merritt and myself. And coming up tomorrow, speaking of which, Jim Merritt will be with us. We got Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle. So you guys have an awesome rest of your day. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the thumbs up button, like the feed before you go today. And we will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.